and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan, and we have a special guest today.
Jeremiah Van Elgort. I've done nothing.
Well, no, I actually, we're both on Marley's podcast when we have the time to. And,
Yeah, nobody's heard of it.
It is,
I know I'm the only follower on Podomatic.
Yeah.
oh, I don't know need to be me. He actually,
I'm not saying not to be mean, I'm just saying that's the truth.
he had I remember we got like 2 email questions in the show one time. So
Yeah.
So there's some listeners, there's some comment sections down there, but yeah. And it feels weird having you on a podcast without Marley being here. It's like,
What, do you expect me to be like his goddamn tumor or something?
No,
like,
no, I don't expect that.
Am I like
Marley
the
leads you in on a leash.
You expect me to be like the sad puppy he brings and like, oh come on Jeremy, you can be a part of the podcast too. Here has some like little.
I wasn't
And he sticks out a fan and hits him on the nose. Like, no! Don't fucking speak before I do.
That's what he does to me.
Don't like fucking Wreck-It Ralph. No, fuck you. You can't like this.
That's what he does to me. That's what Marley does to me. So.
More like what Ryan does to Marley.
Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
Smashing Pumpkins. There you go.
Yeah.
No, but it's more like when he's on this show, that's what I do to him. But when I'm on his show, it gets kind of payback. So that's the main reason he likes me on his
He
show.
doesn't have the fucking reins.
Goes full circle.
Yeah.
Circle of life.
Dog eat dog, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, you actually do a little bit of like video making here and there, don't you? Don't you have like a YouTube channel or something?
Somewhat. I'm working on like a bunch of projects right now. They're not fully developed at the moment. Like I'd rather like wait until I actually have something to present to people.
I wish I kind of like took a view. I have this thing. I'm gonna make a great animated series, and it's like this is taking a long fucking time. I should have been a little bit more quiet on that.
The things I've been working on currently have been I've been working on looking on streaming because I'm thinking about like doing just video game streams, just stuff for friends, just so that way I would like show games that like they wouldn't normally like buy or play, and just kind of like just show that to them.
Like weird stuff on Steam and whatnot.
Well, yeah, or stuff like
I'm the guy who buys all the games that get horrible reviews and nobody buys.
No, I'm not gonna play fucking Ride to Hell Retribution. I have some self-dignity, guys. Jeez. But no, I mean like stuff like let's say like there's some people who don't like shooters, but like there's this great game like Spec Ops: The Line that I would love to stream and like show like, hey, look, this is a modern war shooter that tells you how much of a fucking asshole you are for playing modern war shooters. Don't you feel terrible? You should feel terrible. Fuck you. Hey, do you want the emotionally dead achievement? Here you go, because you killed everybody. Fuck you.
Is that really what the game does?
Pretty much. Like the game Spec Ops: The Line.
I've never heard of this. I've heard of Spec Ops. Is it related to the ones that
It
came
is.
out on
It's based off. It's
the ones that came on a regular PlayStation.
Yeah, so it's on the same IP, but it was done by a different group called Jaeger, and the group decided that like they didn't have that like when they were making the game, there was like an internal like development change because it's like they were originally gonna make like a game that's like similar to like a mix of Gears of War with like stop and pop cover mechanics with some squad based stuff with modern warfare setting, but they decided to like look at the game mechanics and they're like, what does this actually tell our players? And what happened was that they using Heart of Darkness as a reference to the story,
The movie?
The book Heart of Darkness and
like the lion one.
No, the one about Conrad in the jungle.
I think you're thinking Shadow in the Darkness or whatever.
Oh yeah,
it's the book that it's
I'm thinking the one that's got
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer and what's his name?
oh god no,
that's an amazing movie.
Heart of Darkness was the book that Apocalypse Now based
that's
story
right.
off of.
That his wife wrote and then turned to a documentary. Or no, she did the documentary, I think, or she wrote it. One or the other.
Something like. But no, like and the story takes place in Dubai, which got fucking rocked by like this big ass sandstorm that pretty much was like covered the city, and you play Lieutenant Colonel Walker, who's going into the city to find Conrad, who was this American guy who was leading like this group of American like evacuation soldiers called the 33rd, but they never got any response to them, and you get into the situation and it is this literally slow descent into like madness and just anger and rage and just like horrors and terrors that you do. Like there's some of the more memorable moments in the game is like when you actually have to use white phosphorus on people. And white phosphorus, if you know what the fuck that is some fucked up stuff. Like think flare version of napalm that can burn down, that's designed to burn down cities and everything. Like it's like napalm 2.0. Go fuck
napalm
yourself.
Napalm kills people and vegetation. This goes to the next level.
This goes like to the next level. Like this thing could like melt through fucking steel.
I feel stupid asking this. I just might embarrass myself. But is this what they were using in the soap in like Fight Club when he throws a little bit on
No.
Edward Norton's skin?
No, I mean like white phosphorus. Like if most people remember it, there was a lot of when we originally invaded Iraq, during like the first days, like we used white phosphorus and people, and like the UN like got fucking like scared and angry because it is considered like it's on like the same list as like chemical weapons. It is like that fucking brutal and deadly.
And carpet bombing and all those ones where it's just like just rape the shit out of that place.
Yeah,
but who the fuck cares what's left living there?
But no, it's like
as long as we can put an American flag up there, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and the game pretty much like is about like saying like fuck those people in a sense where it's like the main enemy in the game isn't actually like, you know, brown people like most Modern Warfare games like Call of Duty series likes to have you think. It's rogue American soldiers actually, and like they play that key really really well. Like there's one where you have to go kill this radio DJ who's like kind of stirring the populace, and when you're killing the soldiers he's saying stuff about them like, oh, that guy had a wife and a couple kids, so like that guy was good. He's like, there goes my fantasy football choice, god damn it. And it's like all these like really horrible things. And not only that, but as the game progresses, like when you die or like when you load into a next section, you know, when you get those like little game hints which are like press A to jump to cover or press B to do a melee attack. It asks, like, when you go further and further into the game, it says stuff like, this is all your fault. Do you feel like a hero yet? How many Americans have you killed today? It just, like, fucking beats you down.
This is like...
I don't know. This is like playing... I'm not too sure if I want to play a game that's trying to beat me down as I go farther into it.
I give it credit for actually going there, but this is like playing a Mario game and just finding out all the Goombas you were squashing were, like... Bowser went up to him like, if you don't go out there and kill that plumber, I'm gonna kill your fucking wife. You know? That's kind of like finding out.
I don't know. I'd have to say like the best way to describe Spec Ops: The Line, it's sort of like imagine Black Hawk Down and Breaking Bad had like a really abusive but like kind of creepy relationship, kind of like every relationship in Neo Genesis Evangelion.
Okay.
And then like
very Oedipus.
Yeah, very like that. And they just like decided to have a kid, and they're like, oh god, like it's so beautiful, but we hate it so much too. But it's the game is really fun too.
Now, what can you get this game on?
You can get on Steam and Xbox 360 and stuff like that. I
got on a regular Xbox. By the way, you said it like that.
No, I'm not like regular. So I'm in 360.
Yeah. You can get on Xbox. You can get on 360. Fuck, you can get on whatever you can get.
You can get on Windows 99. You can get on the Macintosh. Like you can
get on Windows Me.
You can play it on Super Nintendo. It pretty much plays like
Commodore 64.
Pretty much plays like Wolfenstein. You know?
Yeah. Whatever you have, you can get it on it.
Yeah. But no, like it's when I got it like originally on the Xbox 360 and played the shit out of it because it's really good, and like the multiple endings are really interesting and like really thought-provoking stuff in the story. And it makes one thing I also like about the game too is like it has choice in the game, but it doesn't tell you about all the choices. Like one section you have like an opportunity where these civilians did some really fucked up stuff, and you have a choice where I could fucking gun down these people. Will I do it? Or will I just like walk through them? And the game tells you those choices, but there's a third choice where you can just like go up into the air and like fire a couple rounds to disperse everybody. So it's like it has like a ton of like those moments where it's like you don't have to do what the game tells you.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of like in BioShock, the first one, when you learned about the Would You Kindly reveal, where it's like your character was like constantly being told what to do because like the guy would like end everything with like would you kindly, and you're like, oh, but this is just gameplay objectives, I'm just doing what as the game told me to because I'm a gamer, that's what I'm supposed to do, I don't want to think like this anymore.
I never played BioShock 1 and 2, but I have Infinite, and I never did. At the beginning you're presented with the option of like when they bring out the interracial couple of chucking a baseball at them. I've never done it. Just even in the video game, like I can't do it. I want to know if something happens different, if it changes anything at all. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm going after the asshole in the top hat.
You don't have to. Like the thing is, like also in BioShock Infinite, they have a very similar thing where it's like they say you could throw it or you cannot, and you could just sit there and just be like, I don't want to fucking do this, and the game will be like some cops will be like, wait a minute, what the fuck is that?
What's on your hand? Okay.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Like
so either way, it doesn't change the outcome of the game. Even though I know it's a video game, I just like I can't do it.
That's like in Resident Evil 4. It's like I gotta save the dog every time. Even if I'm doing a speed run, just like there's no way I can let that dog just sit there.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of person would I be if I let a dog stay in a bear trap?
And doesn't like the dog fucking help you out later in the game too, like being a fucking badass and stuff?
It doesn't make a fucking difference when you're doing a speed run because you kill that thing so fast.
Because the ogre, yeah.
The El Gigante.
Is that what it is? Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
I'll
have to keep an eye out for the game. I always give games credit when they try something very different like that. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna. I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, but that sounds.
Well, it's not first-person; it's a third-person, like Gears of War style. Like you.
Well, that's technically kind of they play at kind of the exact same way generally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not. People always make a big difference between that. If they're shooter games, they're mostly still played the same way. It's just you either see your character or you don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I actually a game you probably saw this. I'm curious. I don't know. It sounds like it could be totally awesome, or it sounds like it could be a total gimmick. But the new, and I know we got hurt before, but there's the Alien Isolation game.
I want that game to do so well, so badly, because Colonial Marines, like when we first heard about Colonial Marines, like I remember reading a GameStop article about it when it's like not GameStop, Game Informer, when Game Informer does those like big where they're like, look at this fucking awesome game and stuff like that, and we've been burned before with stuff like Too Human. And
two Alien games ago, the one that was the Alien vs Predator one was pretty darn good.
I enjoyed the Alien vs Predator one by Rebellion, right? The one that was like
Yeah, I think that's because it's the one where you can, I know there's been multiple Alien vs Predator ones, but the one that's the most recent is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the one where it's like the
you can play as the Marine, you can play as the Alien, you can play as the Predator.
Yeah. Well, that goes with most of the AVP games, but still, I know exactly what game you're talking about. That game was really fun, actually, for the most part.
Really, I've only played the original Alien vs Predator one on PC, and then that one.
And then you also don't you have the one for 3DS, the Alien kind of like.
Oh, the Infestation one. Mm-hmm. That one was really cool. It was for just I think DS. I don't think it was a 3DS one.
Okay, well this one looks good. For those of you who don't know, this one is. I mean, you probably do since you're on a podcast, very online, but. This one, what it is you're playing it's a survival horror game. It's not really. It's even though it's first person, it's survival horror, and you don't have a weapon. You just have to avoid the alien. It's down to one alien. You're playing as Ripley's daughter, who I guess is now in her like late teens or early 20s, trying to look for her mother. And I think you go onto the old ship that was in the first Alien.
I believe that is also part of the case too. Like, I remember watching the developer stuff, and it's like it makes sense lore wise because it's like they talked about like in I think Aliens there was like a deleted scene where they show Ripley's daughter when she's like an old woman and like when she died and stuff like that since Ripley came up like years in the fucking future. So, yeah. That's also one thing I do like about the game too is like how it's one alien. Like it adds so much more tension and stuff like that because it's like because it's called Alien Isolation, not Aliens. So, and it's also like I don't know. It reminds me of like imagine if somebody made a Friday the 13th game where it was just Jason and you had to fucking avoid Jason like through.
Well, have you ever played the Friday the 13th game for regular Nintendo? You don't like that one? Really? That game to me is like I always think that game's mind blowing for the time. I mean, it's fucking impossible to beat, but it really does give you that really scary feeling of Jason lurking after you. Yeah, there's like a couple like
but you have a fucking rock that like overshots enemies all the goddamn time.
Or you get the knife and then you can shoot straight.
It's a rock. Oh, you need a knife to shoot straight. You can't use a goddamn rock. Like, I have to throw it over you.
Well, the rock's got the curve. The knife.
I also never understood why there's all those goddamn zombies everywhere.
Maybe you should try underhand. I don't know.
Yeah, I think at that time it's like, well, we gotta have something else to do in this game. Can't just fucking. But
at least I'm not fighting goddamn.
But I like those games that they made for regular Nintendo though, where you just kind of you're going along, and then all of a sudden you never know what's gonna happen. Fucking Jason pops out. They do the same thing in the Jaws game too. Because in Jaws you're like just going down.
You hear the theme
and then shit. And then all of a sudden dun 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 dun.
Like oh fuck, he's out there. Yeah.
And it takes about 5 minutes to kill him.
As you guys are saying. As you guys are talking about Jaws, I'm just looking at the Jaws DVD over there, just staring at me.
But I like the Friday the 13th game a lot for regular Nintendo.
I think that I that game I think for the time it could do a lot, and I could still see the nostalgia to it. But I think it would be interesting to see nowadays like a slasher flick game like that, but more like just one person after you with a stalking mechanic, kind of like Alien Isolation. That could be pretty interesting. I mean, we'll see how the game actually turns out. But at the same time, also, I'll say Aliens. That's my favorite one out of all of them. I like that one more than Alien. But I think it's cool they're actually going back to Alien. It's like, oh yeah, this one happened too. We kind of forgot about it because we're always going into mech suits and always game over, man. You never.
Yeah, and always like Vietnam references and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like I love Aliens, like the James Cameron. Like I think it's an amazing sequel, and also it's like one of the best sequel titles fucking ever. Like, just an S makes everything so much more perfect. Mm-hmm. But I do love the original Ridley Scott horror. Like,
I love it too.
It has just like this charm and this like real sense of like real terror and like horror when it's like just this monster's like loose on the ship and people are aware of it and stuff like that.
Like I love that movie too. I just like I don't know. I guess the action part of my brain just loves the second one more, but it's kind of like, it's not that far off, though. It is one of those things. But that being said, though, I am glad it's going back to, because really, we've had a bunch of games that almost kind of pull from Aliens.
Well, that's what that first Halo pretty much does.
Yeah, exactly. So
well, that and also Warhammer in a sense, because like if you actually look at like the Covenant and stuff like that, they really mirror like the Lizardmen army. They really are very similar to like the Lizardmen army in like the Warhammer series and stuff like that.
I can see that. I never really played Warhammer or anything, but it does seem a lot to me kind of like space Republicans versus like the space terrorists kind of sort of.
It's like, well, there's two versions of Warhammer. There's Warhammer.
I mean, Halo. I don't know about Warhammer, but like as far as Halo, but
yeah. Warhammer, the only thing we got the Space Republicans versus the Space Terrorists.
I just meant Halo, but I don't know. I can't speak on anything on Warhammer, but...
Oh my god, what the fuck? Well, that's essentially like...
the two classes.
I like those game shops. I've never bought anything at them, but I like to look at them.
If you want me to like just talk about the Warhammer fucking universe, I can for a second, because it's the most batshit bonkers goddamn universe in existence. Like, imagine just a universe written by the edgiest fucking like 15-year-old boy who was like read a lot of Berserk, watched a shit ton of porn, and just like loves fucking everything edgy in existence. Like
Isn't that what Berserk is?
Well, kind of in a sense, but like Berserk's like is semi-classy in some ways. While
Berserk, like the anime.
Yeah, the anime and manga and stuff like that. Because it's like at least like Berserk adds like, you know, really interesting sort of like political dilemmas of the time, while fucking Warhammer 40,000's like blood, gore, tits, blood for the blood god, skulls of the skull throne everywhere.
Going back up Berserk for a second, I just want to say this. Everyone tells me to check that thing out, and they say
the game on Dreamcast.
And they say it's very well, like it's a very like interesting show and a very good anime. But the thing that almost scared me off was a guy who was really twisting my arm to do it. And there's a very brief time I was working on the student magazine at the campus, and the magazine.
This guy from South America.
Yeah, he was from Chile. Students from Chile, and he was a very weird guy. He was just a very out there individual.
Did he give you the cold shoulder?
What?
I'm sorry. I wanted to make a cold joke with Chile. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person.
No.
But this is the kind of guy that had these ideas that he thought all was possible if other people would do the work for him.
Well, it was kind of like, I mean, it was one of those things. He did do things himself, but it'd be more like... He'd write this. I couldn't tell you what if you put a gun to my head and said, read this, I couldn't tell you what the fuck just happened.
You're gonna make heads or tails on it.
It would be kind of like, he says, like, it's like nothing but, you earlier before you guys started, when I came up here, before we started recording, you were talking about the Last Airbender movie, saying every line was exposition. Every line in this guy's paper was a goddamn allegory, and I couldn't tell. There was no room to tell what the fuck he was actually talking about.
Was it like Shakespeare like had sex with Jules Joyce and decided to make the most goddamn ridiculous like fan fiction of like Ulysses and like, I don't know, Romeo and Juliet or something like that?
I'm gonna repeat a few lines I remember. There's too many, but I'm gonna read a few lines that I remember, and then I'm gonna tell you those are the things he wanted me to draw to it. Somewhere on the paper, vast, like a ocean filled of gorillas reaching for TIE fighters.
What the fuck is that? Are we sure we're not just like listening to like some like really like psychedelic band's lyrics or something?
And this is before I had a laptop, so I knew how to use Photoshop a little bit from other classes and all that, but this is before I had a laptop. So he's like, oh, you can do it on my computer. He opens his computer. Everything's in fucking Spanish. So I kind of had like, okay, this funny word right here means new page. This one means new layer. So I was
something like that happened to me when I was in San Francisco. There was a guy that was like a roommate, or not roommate, but he lived next door.
Ahmed?
Ahmed, and he was from Egypt.
This is a funny story itself.
And he comes over, he's like, I need help with my computer or whatever. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll come over and help you or whatever. I go inside there, and I look right at the computer, and it just says, Windows for the Middle East. And there's not all the keys are in Middle Eastern. The whole thing, I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I can use the mouse. That's kind of a universal tool. Everything else, I'm fucking lost.
Like, I don't know what that means. Like, does that say, you're just like, does that say Allah? I think that means Allah. I'm not so sure. I'm kind of confused, you guys. I'm scared.
Well, we'll come back to Ahmed in a second, because you got some funny stories with that guy. I just want to finish this up while I still have it fresh in my mind. Mm-hmm. This guy, so... at some point, he like pulls out. He puts he's telling me what he wants, and pretty much he wants this paper. He wants pictures to go along the side of the paper, and then he wants to.
There's like a burnt nut in here.
No, he's eating trail mix. Just to clarify that. No, but he had this paper, and he wanted like pictures to go along to parallel it, and then at the same time, he wanted to look like somebody was going in, like scribbling things out and like correcting it, and just slap it in the magazine. That's what he wanted to do. So
that part's like, you fucking draw it yourself then.
Well, that's the thing. I did all the like, Photoshop work and draws on the side, but then he didn't like it, so he went and did it himself. I'm like, motherfucker. I'll help out with what I can, but I just want to do the comic strip.
I'm not getting paid here, so fuck you.
That's kind of like, after a while, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this guy wants me to do. He got the first one done. I helped him out a lot. I'm like, I'm done with this. But more than anything, he just fell off the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. But I was over at his house one night helping him work on it, and he just had a big list of folders, just all these fucking folders, and there is one that just said, I didn't see what it said. He's like, oh shit. He like clicks it, like drags it to like another folder, like, you weren't supposed to see that. I'm like, you don't gotta worry, I don't care, I didn't even see what it was. He just has this really ashamed look on his face.
He puts his arm around you, he's like, you sure you don't want to see it? I mean, I could show it to you.
I could, yeah.
And I think you might like it.
And then on top of that, he was, we got in a weird conversation. I was joking, and I said something like, all I need is like some Japanese amputee porn. I was just joking. You don't want Japanese amputee, you want Russian. Russian is the best stuff. And he wasn't joking, he was serious. So once that happened, like, you like what you like, that's fine. You're like, oh, this guy's joking, I didn't realize that. And then once that was done, then he was telling me how much he loved Berserk. So after how this guy was telling me how much he loved Berserk, I was like, I don't know if I want to give it a try.
Watch Berserk, I might become this guy.
No, you won't become that guy if you like read or watch Berserk. It's just like, I don't know, okay, one, that guy just sounds bizarre, and I want to know...
He was actually handing out, like, I'll say this real quick, one more thing about him. I'm not trying to talk shit on this guy who's not here. He's, like, all the way in Chile now or some shit, but he was, like, handing out,
Maybe he's
like...
our one listener in Chile.
He's our one listener in Chile.
We got a couple listeners in Chile.
Those bastards! Why could they talk about me like this?
Now, we'll find out next week if we get an email, but, he wrote, like, I couldn't tell you for the life of me what the fuck his papers are about. I just remember, like, lots and lots of allegories and whatnot. And, at one point... when he was I thought it was a big student thing. I just thought it was one guy, but he was handing out like flyers to the magazine wearing like a jester hat in front of the library.
That's impressive. Yeah, gotta give that guy some dedication to look like
that's dedication to what he's doing. That's dedication. And he wanted to take like things from other companies. Like, I don't know if Chile has the same copyright laws, because he wanted to take webcomics and post them in the magazine and just like put like by spam, which is the name of the the magazine. And I was like, dude, I mean, I don't think we can get any serious trouble here, but I still want to toy with that. He goes, oh, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. He's like, okay, it's your magazine.
America, land of the free.
Just put my name on the comic strip I made. That's all you gotta do.
That guy needs to watch the documentary Rip a Remix Manifesto. My God.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. What's that?
Oh, it's a really cool documentary I actually got at the college. It's about it talks about the artist Girl Talk, who does mashup stuff, like mashup songs and stuff like that, and about the legal battles he gets into, and it also talks about like what people want to see, like in the remix community, want to see from American copyright, like as we like move away from like super strict, like no holds barred, you fucking own something for your lifetime plus 75 extra years if you have it copyrighted. It's like stuff like that, and it goes into stuff like the Mouse Liberation Front and all this other jazz. It's really I highly suggest you check it out. It's a really well done documentary, and it's open source that anybody can edit and add things to it. Like, I remember during the documentary he talked about how one college class turned his entire documentary into like a rotoscoped sort of thing. It was really cool.
Okay. I'll have to keep that eye on that. What's it called again?
RIP Remix Manifesto.
RIP Remix Manifesto.
Sorry, by the way, podcast, if I just kind of come in with things I expect everybody else to know and then I have to like take 5 seconds to explain it.
It's totally.
I saw one that was sort of like that.
No need to apologize.
It was about kind of like the rappers in the 80s and 90s though, taking like the beats from certain songs from records and stuff and using them.
Yeah, they talk about that too.
And there's just one guy who's like the guy who's a drummer for James Brown. He's the most like used drummer ever. But he was just kind of going like, "Oh, I don't care if they take my music. I just wish they'd put my name in the fucking credits of the CD."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't care. I don't need the money. I don't need any of this. Just give me the credit where credit is due. That's all I fucking want.
Yeah.
And like nobody does that.
Like,
it's kind of sad though, because you see stuff and you're like, "Oh, I like that song. I like that song." I'm like, now that song is actually brought down a little bit for me, just because I'm like, oh, you guys just steal and that's it?
What's his name?
I guess it was like, when I look as a musician, it's like, really? You guys got to steal? Like, come on. Can't you just fucking do your own beats? How hard is that?
What's his name? The gay fish. Kanye West. Kanye West. South Park.
Motherfucking gay fish. Gay fish.
But he apparently I heard this on another podcast somewhere, but he has a new album that came out. He has a song on there called
Motherfucking Gay Fish.
Gay fish. No, but I'd actually like to have, if he actually made that song, that's a song by him I would download. But no, he has a song called Bound. And what he did is he actually took a really miscellaneous random song from like, I think early 1970s from like a 12-year-old kind of like a 12-year-old rock band. It was just like a boy, like a boy, like that was a
boy.
A boy. It's a boy. It's a boy band, you know.
It was low and
ain't a man band, there's still a boy band.
Man band.
But it's
there was a single boy one day who decided to make a band, and this band, he called it the Feather Dusters, and the Feather Dusters made this really good song that went dun 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 dun, and I was like, what the hell, man? This is some hardcore shit.
That's why we bring you on here today.
You're like, "Dad, I want to be a boy band." "Well, son, you better become a boy band because you're going to be a boy."
So you can't be a boy band. There's got to be like 5 other people. You've got to get an edgy one, an emo one, a hot one,
and a black one,
and a fat one.
You got to also get the sweet type. What kind are you going to be, son? I don't know, Dad. I was thinking about maybe being like the sweet one. What the fuck, son? made you.
My son is the black one.
My son is the goddamn edgy mother.
But Dad, we're Irish. Why, you'll be the black one. Everybody loves the black one. I've seen this before. I've watched VH1.
I saw the Jackson 5 in concert. They fucking loved this shit.
Well, this was back in 1974, but all right.
Whatever.
What was I gonna say?
The Jackson 5 was in 1974.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, like, this particular band or whatever it was back in, like, 74 or something, and I think it was somewhere in the early 70s. And it was just this very poppy boy rock band kind of thing. And it was 12-year-old kids singing, and the song was called Bound, and Kanye West literally just took that song, plopped it right in there as the main backing for his song. I mean, he threw some other beats in there, but you blatantly, there's no way around it. That song he's playing, and
that happens a lot, though.
He gave it no credit, so.
That happens all the time, though. You'll see songs, it's just like, and they'll just take a real song, and then they'll just, like, rap through a section of it. It's just like, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really? It's just, like, to me, that's, like, the most unoriginal thing you could possibly do.
Well, no, you can get some really original stuff through, like, remix and, like, sampling and stuff like that. Like, bands like Justice are all about sampling. Like, they don't really play any notes like they do samples. Like, I remember for their song Stress, they sampled like, I think like over like 120 different notes from like various horror films and stuff like that, and made this like really fucking awesome, like really like cool song. And like at one point, like during the beat breakdown, they pull out like, they have like just a song, like I think like the sound of Ash's chainsaw like booting up and stuff like that, and like to help accompany the beat. It's like some really cool stuff, actually.
Well, that seems a little bit different if you're taking movie kind of stuff, cues and stuff like that. I just feel like when you really blatantly just take a song, plop it down, and you're like, okay, I didn't have to put any effort or work in there, and now I'll just like put some random ass lyrics over the top, and there we go. Fucking give me $100 million.
I think if you use samples here and there, I guess that's all right. But for me, it's not really my thing. But I mean, there are times there are exceptions. But overall, it's my whole problem is when they just don't credit. Like he has the fucking money. You buy the rights, pay the guy. You have the fucking money. This is a guy who had one song back in the early 1970s.
Yeah, how much are those rights anyways? And how much money does Kanye have?
Can't have that much, yeah.
So, I don't know. For me, it's just, as a musician, I always kind of look at those things and go, that just feels like very lazy. It just feels like put your fucking effort in. Like, don't be a half-ass band.
Well, I don't really want to. I mean, look, I'll say it. I'm not really big on dubstep and a lot of techno or anything, or like I guess or a lot of sampling bands. I mean,
well, techno could be real. I mean, all you need is a synthesizer. That's all you need.
I guess that wasn't a good example. I guess that wasn't a good example.
It's still a synthesizer, but
I guess that was. I guess that wasn't a good example right there. But I meant more like I guess dubstep and a lot of rap that uses like samples. That right there, it's not my thing. But I'm not gonna just so much dismiss it as like this isn't real art or this isn't real music, because a lot of times anything that comes around that's new, like everything that's still here today at one point in time, a lot of people are like rock and roll, this is a phase, this is gonna be gone. Same thing with video games, same thing with like nearly any other genre. Like rap, for instance, was something for a long time.
Yeah, people thought that would go away really quickly, and it never did.
Here to stay, pretty much. So I think
there's nothing. I'm not saying anything against like a genre. I'm just saying against like I just think that like when bands do too much like sampling and ripping and all this stuff like that, it's just I don't know. It doesn't look like you're very talented. I'm
not defending it as much. I'm just saying it's one of those things. I'm not going to dismiss it as something like, there might be talent in a way like what you were saying, taking different like sound effects and working something out of that. I can understand that, but it's I guess what you're saying. All right, good example. What you were saying, I could see how that could work. I haven't heard the song, so I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds more legitimate there.
But Kanye West blatantly just dropping a song into his song, that's where it's like, all right, yeah, come on, you do a little more. Or at least give credit. Give credit.
One thing I'll have to ask you, too, is, like, what do you think of, like, mashup artists who will, like, take, like, completely opposite ends of the spectrum? Like, I know that there's, like, this big community out there who does, like, mashups of, like, hardcore rap with, like, the most moe fucking, like, J-pop that you can get and, like, combine them together to actually, like, either make different beats to the rap song or like different like sort of like or like combining the lyrics together to get something out of it. Like I remember that there was this one song, by the way, they do credit the artists in these mashup guys, like they'll be like, oh, this was from Bass and like the artist who did this was blah and stuff like that. Like one that I really like that I have suggest you guys check out is called Durarara Off Your Shoulders Kids, which is a combination of like this one song from Durarara, which is an anime, and Jay-Z's Dirt Off Your Shoulder, and then the song Kids by Sleigh Bells, which is a really cool like combination. It pretty much sounds like, I remember like looking through the comments, like one guy's like, this sounds fucking exactly like Korean rap. It's really bizarre. Like what about stuff like that? Like,
that doesn't seem like my thing. I'll probably just say that out of the bat. It's like, once again, there's that musician thing where you kind of like, it's like, well, if you're gonna make music, you better do it yourself.
Oh, I could sort of see where you're coming from, Spencer, on that. I guess I'm kind of in the middle there. It's one of those things. I've heard it where it sounded cool. Like there's the one in Django Unchained when they're playing Tupac and James Brown, and it's kind of like, I'm not gonna say whoever made that is like a genius, but I'm gonna give him credit for seeing something that other people didn't see, because I really do enjoy that mashup of that song right there. Another one I feel
like some things like that though, it's just like, do a cover and throw your own rap lyrics in there if you want, but don't like take a song and then start doing it over. Because I remember there was one, it was on Need for Speed not Most Wanted, but Need for Speed Underground, and it was Snoop Dogg rapping over The Doors, and it was the Doors song, which I think it was
Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, I think so. And then it would just like pause for a second, and then the drums and the keyboard would keep going, and Snoop Dogg would rap it. And I'm like, that is lazy as fuck. It's just like, really?
That is lazy.
Now, Snoop Dogg said like, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to do Riders on the Storm. I'm going to throw some rap in there, but I'm going to sing the song too and, do my own music through it. I mean, cover it. That would be different, I think. Mm-hmm. I think if you cover it, it's different. But when you blatantly just rip it off and then just pop your own shit in there at some point and then go, that's mine.
I think, I don't know. I think if you're going to do that, as long as you credit them and as long as people recognize at the end of the day who has more talent. That's my thing. As long as you at the end of the day... Because, I mean, what sounds good to your ear sounds good to your ear. Like, I heard there was a song by the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't remember I think it was Cream by Wu-Tang Clan. And then they threw in, like, the Captain America theme song from Marvel vs. Capcom. And they meshed them together. It sounded really cool. So what sounds good to your ear sounds good. It's just...
that's a little bit different, though, I think, because you're taking a song that doesn't have lyrics in it to start off with.
But at the same time, it's still somebody that orchestrated something all on their own. They could still like reorchestrated it in their own other way. My opinion right there is, I think you could enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying that. Just A, make sure they're credited. B, just know where more of the talent lies. Like, I'll give credit to them for having the ear to know, like, say, oh, this could work together. And like when, I never would have thought that James Brown Tupac song would mix up that
well. It's like somebody who's like, that's actually one of the projects I'm working on is actually mashup stuff. And like, I can tell you, like, just from like experience, it is really hard, like, finding like songs that like congeal well together, and like you can combine beats and stuff like that to make like even more interesting.
Well,
beats.
they got to be like the same tempo, right?
Well,
is that how you do a mashup? I'm not too sure.
It's like
I don't even know if I've even heard too many of these mashups.
Well, for the mashups like side, it's a combination of things. Like you can have like just find like similar beats and stuff like that. Like a good example is like if you ever heard like the song by 4 Chords by Axis of Awesome. They talk about how like 4 chords kind of dominate a lot of musical trends, and they talk about like it's pretty much like choruses from different songs that have like the same chords that kind of like builds up and stuff with the song, and then ending with one of their songs that uses the same 4 chords. So you can do that and you can combine them together. That's kind of lazy in a lot of ways. Like what's more difficult is sort of like isolating certain parts of a song and then like combining them together to like make something up. Like with the Durara Off Your Shoulders kids song that I mentioned, like they isolated the lyrics of the Durara song, like put in the beat from Jay-Z's Dirt Off Your Shoulders, and then like when the chorus would come in, they would include like part of like the build-up part for the Kids Sleigh Bells thing that would help like make the chorus sound like bigger, because Kids Sleigh Bells song in the beginning has like this really big like drums, like percussion sort of. It's like boom, ba boom, ba 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 boom, ba boom, something like that. And it's like combining that, and then like it's a lot of like isolation. It's like isolating certain elements and also like exemplifying elements, and don't like toning down other elements to like make something really interesting. Like one really silly. It's kind of like when you would go onto like 4chan and stuff like that, and you would see like the mashups of like the song from Space Jam, like "Oh It's Slam," and just combining with every other thing out there, and like it's sort of similar to that. Yeah, Ryan.
I feel dumb asking this, but I hear that name a lot. 4chan. What is 4chan exactly?
When you said 4chan, I thought you talked about like 4chan, like the magazine from 4chan Wall Street.
Okay, so
me and Ryan, like when it's called Old Man Orange Podcast, there's a fucking reason for that too.
I'm just gonna take a moment here.
We're like, we listen to Bruce Springsteen and Eddie Vedder.
Guys, shut the fuck up. We're gonna take a moment here. We are an internet podcast, and 2 of the people here does not know what the fuck 4chan is.
I hear the name a lot.
Oh my god, guys.
I know it's the troll face on. I hear people talk, the troll face on 4chan.
See, the Old Man Orange thing really it starts fitting more and more the more I think about it.
Educate us. What are the kids listening
to? We're equivalent to like 2 50-year-old guys that happen to be in 25-year-old bodies.
Who's this fucking like 21-year-old hipster we brought onto the podcast who's knowing more shit about the internet than us? But no, 4chan is a message board that pretty much is just everything imaginable. Like it has like it's like think Reddit, but like more open and more of a wretched hive of scum and villainy in a sense. Like there's like different forums which are like for different certain things. Like there's the A board, which is like for anime stuff where people can talk about. There's TG where people can talk about tabletop game stuff and make jokes and stuff like that. It's think of like going to Mos Eisley, like this really fucking dingy, like you're not so sure if you're supposed to be here sort of thing. You're going down the main street and like one side you see like the fucking D&D club with like where like all of like I don't know, Jar Jar Binks is playing with his fucking asshole friends playing some Dungeons and Dragons. You turn over to the other side and you see like
getting blown in the bathroom.
Yeah, you go to the other side. That's one section. That's probably like the B board. That's probably where you see like
brony stuff.
I think
I was just joking.
There is a bronies board, and it's the fucking most I remember going there once, and it's like the most disgusting fucking thing in existence. Like, okay, it's like you go over to the one side, and the other side of the street, you'll see like the anime board where you see like a bunch of fucking like Jawa weeboos who are just talking about how much their tart goes Doki Doki and shit. And then you go over
Doki Doki?
Like Doki Doki Panic?
Doki Doki is a Japanese thing that's like heart pounding, like boop, boop.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like the little like things they have a lot in the like the big giant sweat drops, the heartbeat.
Well, it's like that's like you make like my heart go Doki Doki. It's sort of like that's the thing where it's like bump 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 or like heartbeat and stuff like that. Like that's like you know how it's like we have like certain words are like kapow boom and stuff like that. It's sort of like Doki Doki is theirs for like heartbeat and stuff like that.
Alrighty.
But yeah, then you'll go over to one side and then you'll see the part where it's like you see like Luke Skywalker like chained up in a BDSM style with like fucking Darth Vader with like a lightsaber penis who's like flailing it around and talking about how much like we're being attacked by like reptilianoids and stuff like that.
It's the internet. That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know if this is selling me too much on it.
Pure, unrefined internet.
I'm glad you used Star Wars to explain it to us. If you used anything more modern than that, I don't know if we would get it.
Should I have also like maybe I should
Maybe
have
Blade
actually...
Runner.
Maybe I
should have modern as you
should have described it with like Humphrey Bogart movie terms here, you guys, you old
Christ.
motherfuckers.
That's something we can understand. It's in black and white.
Can you put on some Bob Crosby and the Wildcats while we talk about this?
Oh, I thought that's too
Pleases
hardcore
me.
for you. Do you need to put on like I don't know, like Frank
That was my
Sinatra?
entry into Fallout 3. I was like, oh, Bob Crosby and the Wildcats. I can get behind this.
It's something I understand.
Look, a 1950s robot. I get that.
I remember buying that when I was
When you said the Star Wars thing, I felt like that line of Captain America and Avengers, like, I get it. I get it. This
That's
speaks
the
to me.
reference. I understand that reference.
I just had to let you know.
That's how I felt. Just like, 'cause all those other stuff's like, I don't, mashups. I've heard of it. I've never seen one or heard one really.
The title for this episode should be like, I get that reference.
It could be that. Or Jeremy explains all.
Me and Ryan just talk about movies and old movies and
It's
things
just-
like DC Comics and stuff that's
It's
still
usually-
printed out.
It's usually Spencer and me, and we don't really get a chance to bring other people in too much. So every
Except
time
Marley, and then Marley's like, I'm like, no man, shut up, get back in your pod.
why does he talk like Beeper?
Feels like a little robot. Beep, boop, 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 boop.
Dude, have you heard like Marley when he gets upset? He's like, beep, 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 boop, beep,
Oh, come on, man. He's not here to defend
I've
himself.
never made Marley
He-
upset.
He listens to the podcast. Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna so love it when he listens to this podcast. He's gonna be like, Jeremiah, what the fuck, man? And I'm like, I love you, buddy. You made my heart.
We just
go
get on our
jump.
podcast. You just talk shit about me the whole time. Sorry, dude. That's my thing.
This is why I
That's what
have
people
no-
know me for.
This is why I have no friends, guys. This is why.
Well, this is why we're kind of only like, Spencer and I are only friends with each other.
Yeah,
It seems most of the
We seem to understand each other. We go out to the outside world and everything changes and things have rapidly advanced. Because as far as the internet goes, it's like I go to Amazon, I go to eBay, I might go to Newgrounds. That's about as new as it fucking gets for me.
Even on Newgrounds, I'll see something kind of like some weird, kind of like the thing we call the under eye, the weird squinty face, and then like something for a newer game like Portal.
Nope.
I'm just like, I move the mouse over. I'm like, not today. Go for the next one.
like,
Batman. I know that.
I know who Batman or Mario. There we go.
I'm old. I need to drink some prune juice while I listen to Frank Sinatra.
Far off. I feel that way. I feel like I went back to that because I'm taking some break. I'm taking a break from college right now. And today I ran over to the campus just to use the internet and to print something out. And while I was over there, I really just felt like, did I just walk through a fucking time tunnel or something? Because everybody there was like fresh out of high school.
Well, now you're
bright-eyed.
Mr. fucking old man. They just see you and you look like Gandalf to them.
I know. It's just like what happened? Was it that long ago? You know.
Dude, I feel like fucking Gandalf when I go to the college now. It's my last semester. I feel like fucking Gandalf.
I just like, man. Whenever I go there, it's just like
I don't go there. I wouldn't go there at all anymore because I knew I wouldn't relate to anybody.
it's one of those things like, I mean, I plan on finishing up. Now, I'm not gonna finish up there because that's school. I don't like it too much.
I hate that school.
But when I was there, it was almost just kind of like, what's that guy doing? He's on his computer doing like cartoon. What is he doing? Oh my god! Someone just Instagram me. It's just like I don't understand the Instagram thing. And Instagram. I know a lot of people has Instagram.
It's one of the ones like there's too many fucking like those. I call them like the extra websites. It's like, certain websites can break through, but it's like you can only maintain so many different pages. I learned that with like. Especially with video pages, like, no, fuck that. 3 of them, that's it. Any more is too much to handle.
I still got a Twitter. You got a Twitter, but I
got
still
the
don't have
Twitter.
one.
I like the Twitter. It kind of reminds me of the old-fashioned internet. Back in the day when you go on in 1998 and go to, like, with the message boards, and nobody know who you were, and you could make fun of people.
Except
your name and picture's still up on Twitter, but still.
Okay.
Well, as long as you have like the picture of like some obscure like cartoon character, then people never fucking know who you are.
You'd be like, yeah, a picture of like a Meowth and going, fuck you!
We got that before.
Yeah. And to me, I just picture Meowth yelling that at me. It's like, oh, thanks.
Meow, that's right.
You fucking cunt!
Meow, I hope you die in a fire.
You know, I kind of wish they just uncensor me out. Just let them say everything. Like, I can't believe I'm stuck with these two brain-dead fucks over here. Why don't they just fuck each other, get it over with, quit with all this tension? I'm pretty sure they're both gay. I don't know.
I'm
they're both inbred. I'm not too sure.
No, I'm guessing what happens is like, meow, that's right. Okay, cut. Oh, god damn it, I gotta deal with this shit anymore.
Smoking a cigar.
Like, my fucking ass, you have, can you hear me? Fucking Armando over here so I can light my goddamn cigar. Be fucking useful for once in your goddamn life.
He pulls off like a skin-colored like patch from his neck. He's smoking through a hole in his neck real quick.
I'm telling you guys, when I first started working here, I told you, we only had 150 Pokemon, not any of these fucking weird-ass things. Like, that was a fucking ice cream cone. What the fuck, people? What have we become? What has science wrought?
There's an ice cream cone one now?
Yeah, there is. I think
It's
it's
in
been
black
safe
and
since
white.
black, yeah.
Because you never finish black, so you'll never see it. You'll never see the ice cream cone or the gangbanger Pokemon.
There's a gangbanger Pokemon?
Yeah, there's like this like
Pants like slouched
yeah,
down,
there's
boxers,
a saggy
sideways holding gun.
There's not a sideways holding gun, but there's this like saggy pants guy like Pokemon out there in black
Beanie
and
at
white.
least, Huddy?
He's got like a weird mohawk actually.
He's got like I think he's got pants on. Maybe he has a jacket. I can't remember.
That's
People,
A lot of those New York, really ever since like, I mean, there's Pokemon that stick in my head, but not all of them really do anymore. I remember all 151. From there on out, it's like selective Pokemon I remember.
The people on the podcast probably tired of me hearing me say this, but the only ones I really played was Generation 1. I played a little bit of Gold and Silver, and then from there it's like a big long break, so I just kind of fell out of it, but I was curious to see where it's at now. So about Black, got to like the second or third gym, and I gotta finish it. But yeah,
Black and White was amazing. I like that one a lot. Really, they're all good. There's no such thing as a bad Pokemon.
It's also the most American Pokemon we've got.
Oh, the Black and White.
Well, Black and White because it's based off of New York City and stuff like that. So America.
that was the first one set like in America, right?
Yeah, that was the first game that they set that they based a region off of a place different from Japan. Like
Isn't the new one like set in Europe or something?
it's based off of France to be
okay.
specific.
That's cool. Mixing that
A little
up
bit more blatant this time. Like there's the Castle of Versailles, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like-
right fucking placed down in the map.
They base it off. It's not like it's like you're gonna be in there and you're gonna be like, oh, this feels like Taxi Driver or something like this. Like where the fuck's Robert De Niro? It's not like that New York, but
You walk down like the back alley, you see some homeless guy as Electabuzz is blowing him in the back alley or something.
what the fuck you looking at? Get him, Electabuzz!
Dun, 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 dun.
I want that hobo as my Pokemon. I'm gonna catch that fucking hobo.
Catching a
He's not a real human anymore. I can catch
That's
him
what's
now.
happening in New York City. It's just like all these like hobos are being like dressed in like these ridiculous cosplays and being like thrown at each other like fucking like Squirtle and Charmander.
You wild hobo appeared. They're not real people. They don't have social security numbers. We can just
Wild
fucking
Hobo
use
appeared. Like Wild Hobo appeared. Ryan used his shank. It's super effective. Hobo is dead. Ryan has to now evade the police. Surprise encounter with police. Ryan uses rocket launcher.
During all of this. I was just plainly curious. I actually went and looked because I heard about it, and there was the Pokemon Origins thing, the new animated series they have.
Fucking good. It's really good.
I watched the first two, and I was just curious because I'll be honest, the games are fun. I love the cartoon when I was a kid. Now I look back, it's kind of like, I don't kick myself for liking it, but doesn't really have nearly that. It has like a little bit of nostalgia, but doesn't have that same kind of like, it's not something I look back on like, oh, that was so good, like Batman or Dragon Ball Z or something like that. So I watched the first one, like, okay, this first one's pretty good. Then I got to the second one, and it was just like, it was the Cubone thing, and it just jumped straight at, it was just like, yeah, we're gonna jump just like what could be a full couple episodes worth, just right to the Cubone thing in the tower or whatever, the ghost tower. And I don't know, it's just one of those, it was just one of the, like, the first thing is, I thought I like Red a little more than Ash, but you're right, he's about equally as stupid, just in a different way.
Well, the thing that I liked about the Pokemon Origins story is that it's a lot more akin to like what the actual manga was about. Like if you actually ever read the Pokemon manga, that thing's fucking dark and sinister. Like there's that whole thing with Cubone and his mom and everything, but there's also like one thing that they left out in the anime is that what Team Rocket would actually do when they would beat trainers is kill their Pokemon. Like that's the thing that they would do, is that they were like, we are the best, and if your Pokemon aren't good enough, then you don't deserve to have them ever, and they would kill them. Like
they actually left that out of the manga.
Yeah, they left that out of the anime and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of.
I have read because I remember I have some of the manga ones, even though they're like the ones that are like made for like American audiences, where they shape it in the same form as like a comic book, so it doesn't look confusing. Looks just like the Superman Batman comics you buy.
Well, was this the?
If your dad catches you reading a book that's backwards, he's gonna slap the shit out of you.
Was this the? Because I remember they had two. There was the one called Pokemon Adventures, which was the main character in it was red, and it worked different. I remember like one of the starting ones was actually he had like a Poliwhirl or something. And then there was the one that was more like the show, but it was a little darker.
It's the one that's more like the show, though.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Alrighty.
That's the one that was like based off of. That's the one where it's like the first one is like where in the first episode of the series in like the show. Sorry. Yeah, in the first episode.
I see it's just bouncing up on that.
Yeah, in the first episode in the show, it's like Ash and Pikachu are being like Pikachu's being a dick, and then they're like getting attacked by all these goddamn like Spearows and stuff like that. In the manga, it's like really bloody. Like you actually see like Ash get like cut and like almost like die and everything like that.
Yeah, I remember because I had the first four, and it was one of those things. If the show was actually like that, because I remember the way they made the Pokemon, they actually looked more like they didn't look like. There's a cartoon character that looked cute on a trading card. They actually looked really detailed. They looked like how you think. I mean, it wasn't overly realistic.
Well, they were cartoony, but they were like.
They were a little bit more serious cartoons.
But they looked a little bit more serious. Like Firo didn't have like these blank, like normal looking cartoon eyes. Remember, he had like bird-like eyes and the detail they had in little aspects. And I remember if the show was probably more like that tone and went at that same pace, I probably would have liked it more, and I probably would have kept with it even longer. But then it just kind of reached that point where just like, we gotta teach this fucking Jigglypuff sex ed, and that's eventually by the point, like, 'cause every episode they had to help something.
Well, they can't make, like, they can't turn Pokemon into, like, Pokemon into, like, darker than black or, like, all, like, Akira. Just imagine Akira version of Pokemon where it's, like, this post-apocalyptic universe where it's, like,
I had a dream
my
that
name
happened
is
one time.
One time we had this like 3-hour-long discussion in Modesto once, and I was at this pizza parlor with a bunch of these guys about making a fucking rated R Pokemon movie. And these guys at the pizza parlor were like, Jesus fucking Christ, how much can these guys talk about Pokemon? They've been here forever. They ordered 4 pizzas and they've been talking about a fucking rated R Pokemon movie this whole fucking time.
I actually, like, what was I going to say regarding that?
Is Missy like a stripper at it or
no,
something
more just,
like that?
it's not the fact that it's trying to be like, yeah, it's not like it's like trying to be kind of like
edgy.
out there and edgy. It's supposed to be just more,
it's not trying to be Frank
it's
Miller.
serious.
Yeah.
It's just, that's all it is. It's just taken very serious. You made Ash like 18, like it's like when you turn 18, make it like a more realistic age. And then all instead of kind of looking kind of cute, everything more looks like an animal and a fucking real looking dragon, and it's kind of scary shit like that.
And that's what I thought they looked in the manga series. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, the manga one they looked at, and Ash even looked. He didn't look like he was fucking 10. He looked like he was 18. They said he was 10, obviously, but.
I want to say that the creator of it, I don't remember his name, but the creator of Pokemon, he originally wanted the series to darken and mature as it went on. Now, I don't think he was imagining, kind of like Ash walking out of like a burning building holding a bloody Pikachu, like, why? I don't think he was imagining that. But Rocket! Team Rocket! Just like
Meowth, that's right!
Ash just like bust into like, the fucking like Giovanni's place with a gun, just shooting him like, oh fuck! They're like backing away.
It just turns into that opening scene in The Matrix where it's like dun 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 dun. There's like dun dun. It's sick.
Yeah, just exactly like that. Even more violent though. But no,
there's like a Mr. Mime like by like the little terminal and he like looks and there's like a goddamn like Pikachu and he just like pulls down and like cocks the tail like a fucking laser can's like
I'd be down for that. I'm just to see it. Just to see it made. Like, no, this is the age we live in. But it was like he wanted it to actually eventually darken. I guess he had more of like a vision of being kind of like a Harry Potter, where the characters mature and get more serious, and characters, like you said, would die. It wasn't like, oh, he fainted. It was they actually blatantly
if they
died.
made it kind of like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, that's like really very few things do that. Where it's like, well, here's Goku, he's fucking a 10-year-old kid, and then he eventually just gets older and older as it goes on. Next thing you know,
and then he turns back into a kid because GT.
But I mean, like something like you don't really see that very often in like any shows. The only time you really see it maybe is in a show where like the characters just get older because they're live action.
And the people making the show, and maybe it may have been some higher up exec in Nintendo, said like, look, American kids are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
American kids are fucking stupid.
And they said, like, as long as there is an 8 to 10-year-old kid, or 8 to, like, 12
As long as America keeps having fucking kids, there'll still be idiots in them.
Well, it's like Japan always has to like constantly like, tone down its like reference materials or like the difficulty in games because they think we're way too fucking like babby bullshit for them. Like they're the hard like they were the hardcore gamers before like we were hardcore gamers. Like they like even in Japan they still think of us as like filthy casuals where it's like. You do not play Dark Souls in Japanese?
Like the only, like if you probably look in a back in like probably 90s and back, if you looked in a Japanese dictionary of American, you just see some fat chick in like Walmart on a rascal, you know? Like this is standard American right there.
No, it's just like you would see like in just Japanese it'd be like see America. See like America. See vagina. Like just
Well, like a lot of the old like regular Nintendo games, like they edited them out in America. Because in Japan, a lot of times, all the bad guys were all, like, black and Mexican and stuff in a lot of video games.
They even have, like, what was it?
It's kind of like Resident Evil 5. At first, like, Japan was just going to make it 2 white guys running around killing all black people.
Yeah.
And then I love because, like, what they did, they're like, okay, well, we'll put Sheva in there, and she'll be, like, the black character.
And then they give her this really racist
Well, at first, they're like, okay, this is what we'll do. There's a white zombie now, there's a Mexican zombie, there's an Asian zombie, and then about 3 levels into it, it's like, it just goes back to all black again.
They'll forget by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like...
Well, it's like, who do you expect? What are you going to shoot when you're in Africa?
Then you beat the game, and you unlock, like, the, like, African huntress thing, and it's got, like, this leopard print fucking bra with, like, teeth around her neck and, like, face paint, and it's like, what the fuck, Capcom? Capcom, what the fuck?
Pissing off feminists and the Africans.
Pissing off everything.
Nah, I played bits of 5 with
Resident Evil 5, I love that one. Mm-hmm. That's such a good game.
How was 6? I know we're going
6 is amazing. I don't care. Whatever people say, 6 is fucking amazing.
Oh, here we go.
You were so cute.
You must not be a big Resident Evil fan then.
No, it's just I like good games. That's my thing.
I'll sit back.
To me, Resident Evil 6, I love the way that game plays, though. I think that game was fucking awesome.
This is a break for me.
My problem with Resident Evil 6 is
do you like all the Resident Evils, though?
I like the Resident Evil series. I love how it's like pretty much like on the cusp of trying to be like evil like Army of Darkness, but also trying to be like the first Evil Dead, where it's like taking itself seriously, but then like not taking itself seriously at the same time. Like
I don't know. Well, I definitely don't see that in the Resident Evil.
Well, it's like I mean, like in the first Resident Evil and stuff with like the bad acting, like this is Chris's blood.
Well, I think that's not necessarily like intentional. That's just kind of like
it's like
that's just translation of older video games.
It's like I'll say this like the couple of Resident Evil like Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, like Resident Evil Code Veronica, like those series are really good, and they have good pacing and like an interesting sort of story. Resident Evil 4 took that story and just like took it to like a next level where it's like not only is it like the combat and the gameplay was like much more refined and everything like that, but like there's like moments where it's like this is just fucking ridiculous, but I fucking love every minute of this, and like there's some great gameplay, like great replayability, like it's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Then Resident Evil 5 comes out, and it's like Resident Evil 4, but like with like a lot more bloom effects and a lot more racism and stuff like that. But you know, it's fine in itself. I mean, like minus like Chris Redfield's watermelon biceps, pretty much, and they're so fucking huge.
What's wrong with that?
He just likes to.
What's wrong with guys that work out? Come on.
There's nothing wrong with the guys that works out, but it's like when it like looks like okay, those look like goddamn tumors there, buddy.
That doesn't bother me. See, I personally want my games to have more of that macho man thing into it. Like I don't want this no wussy thing. It's kind of like with movies too. It's like I want my action heroes. I don't want a guy who looks like he just has abs. I want a guy who looks like he can fucking like pick up a tank.
Yeah, but no, it's like my problem with Resident Evil 6, like with many other people said, is like the gameplay sections like. It's finding a really odd tone, like in a sense where it's like people talk like Resident Evil 5 is like a little too actiony, like because Resident Evil 4 had a really.
Well, it's funny because like people always say Resident Evil 5, and it's like the only reason why that game's not nearly as scary as number 4 is because you have a buddy with you. Once you have a buddy, it takes away like half the horror.
Well, not only that, but it's like when you go into like in Resident Evil 4, when you go into like the first level, when you go into like the town and everything, it's actually a very tense moment because you're like, holy shit, there's all these people, like some of them with chainsaws, and they're gonna like rip into.
But the serious thing is, if you had a buddy with you, it wouldn't be nearly as intense.
That's a good point though, because it's like that's the thing about survival horror is like it plays off the ideas of like loneliness and like isolation.
By yourself, nobody's got your back.
Like
or in Resident Evil 5, you always have somebody to get your back, and when you do both get jumped, that's when you fucking
like
fucked up.
Like there are some games that are like really good at using like a very like survival horror sort of like like methods and stuff, even if you do have partners with you. Like, bit of like going back full circle here. Like, Spec Ops Line does a really good job at that because like as you go further and further down, like your men begin questioning your actions and being like way more hostile with you and like with the.
So it's kind of like the thing for like PS2 and Xbox.
Well, it's sort of like that, but it's not like
because that was one of the first games where people are like they start flipping out on you.
Well,
like,
they're
whoa,
yeah,
here, have some drugs.
Yeah, they're your constant friends and stuff like that. But it's like as you go further and further and further, and like the more like they begin to really resent you and like resent each other and be like, not only like hate you but hate themselves for like letting you allow them to do like these things and stuff like that. And like eventually the game sends you into like this feeling of like sense of feeling like you are really alone like midway through the game, and then when your character does become alone, it becomes even more impactful because it's like I literally have nothing else to go upon. Like that's what like in survival horror like is a really good thing, is like when you feel like you are like totally helpless in a sense. Like even in Resident Evil 4, like in the first level, I felt kind of helpless in a sense where it's like, yeah, I'm fucking Leon Kennedy, and
I got a fucking pistol, and this guy's got a chainsaw.
This guy got a chainsaw, and there's a lot of these guys here, and like
and I got 20 bullets.
And like Resident Evil 5's first level was good at that. Was good with a very similar thing where it's like I'm in like an African slum where like this crazy shit's going down. Like this is about to turn to Black Hawk Down. I don't want to have this turn into Black Hawk Down. I don't like Black Hawk Down. This is a scary guy. I'm freaking out. But then it's like. With RE6, like I felt there was like way less of those moments and stuff like that, and it's like the differences between the like.
See, I like all 4 of those campaigns. They all work for me.
I understand.
I love the difference because I like the Leon and what's her name? I kind of always gonna forget some of the newer characters. Helena.
You're asking the wrong person.
I know. I was just looking at you. But like I like, cause that one kind of has, it sort of has a feel of classic Resident Evil. I mean, it's got the modern controls and the modern gameplay, but it has a little bit more feel of that. And then the Chris and whatever the fuck that other guy's name is.
Jacob or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. That guy,
Jake.
like that one's kind of more, it's more based on kind of like a more actiony, sort of Gears of War like feel. And then I really like the Sherry Birkin and then Wesker's son. That one's really cool because it reminds me of like it's back to like sort of like a nemesis type thing. There's this thing keep constantly chasing you down.
Yeah, but it's like
and then the Ada one's cool because it sums everything up.
Well, it's like the thing is like going to like my opinions about the campaigns. It's like I like the Leon Kennedy's campaign's fine because it's like it's getting back to like it feels like more of a refinement of Resident Evil 4 systems and stuff like that. The Chris campaign like with the Resident Evil game, like I felt there was like too much emphasis on action and stuff like that, and I like sequences where it's like you're being like overwhelmed and stuff like that you had in RE4 and RE5 like in the first couple levels, but like when it's just like constant, but like also when you're like so well equipped, it doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game.
Well, that game you're not
kind of like Operation Raccoon. It feels like Operation Raccoon City, where it feels like you want to be doing the cleanup crew and stuff like that, but you don't really feel that kind of like tension of like being the cleanup crew in a sense.
Well, the one thing even in Resident Evil 6 though is you do run out of ammo a lot faster than you do like in number 5 and all that stuff. In that game, I don't know what it is. It's just you're always out of ammo though. You never seem to have enough ammo.
And you are entitled to your own
opinions. And
opinions.
me, it's like
I'm not trying to shit
I
all
look
over your
at that
opinions.
game like to me, I would say it's almost a 10 out of 10. I like it that much, But I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I almost like anything Resident Evil. But to me, that game when I played, I was like, I fucking love the controls. I thought they were super smooth. I liked the melee stuff in it. That made it really fun. I liked the mercenary section of it. I liked all 4 of the campaigns. Plus, the game was fucking hella long, which was awesome. I loved it a lot.
And you were entitled to your
I would say I like it just as much as I like 4. I do think 4 has that kind of like classic. That's one of the best kind of like time run games ever.
Or rebuild of like the system and stuff like that.
I played number 4.
Yeah.
That's as far as I can.
Ryan's like, I did so
Well, to me, the funny thing is
I
like
played the light gun game at your house one time.
That's an amazing one. We've been playing a bunch of that at my house. But like to me, it's like I always thought it was so weird because people like they'll like number 4 and then like 5 and 6 they feel like it's such a departure. And it's like it's practically the same fucking thing. You just have a buddy. If you didn't have that buddy, I think it would be just as scary as 4. But since you have a buddy, and I like the co-op thing though, because that's the thing to me is like games that have co-op. That's kind of a big selling point. That always makes the game way more fun. Like I don't think I'd play a first-person shooter generally if it didn't have co-op. That's kind of where like a first-person would lose it at me, or even just a regular shooting game.
Well, because you also want to play with friends too. It'd be like a fighting game, like without co-op. Like
you'd play it for a bit, and then you'd probably get bored after about 2 hours. So you're like, oh, if I had a friend.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird. BioShock Infinite didn't have, like, I mean, they have that downloadable thing where I'm assuming you could play online, but I thought it was weird BioShock Infinite didn't have the 2-player thing for being a first-person shooter.
Well, but isn't that more of an adventure, though? Like, that's kind of like...
It's still definitely a first-person shooter, but it is... kind
of like Metroid Prime. I know that's kind of a different thing, but...
No, more first-person shooter still. There's not very much mystery to it.
Okay. I think the thing is, it's like, the reason why is because, one...
the
BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite were done by the same team. BioShock 2 was done by a different team.
Did I say 2? I meant Infinite.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's... You
wait, one and two...
Because you said, like, 2 had a multiplayer
I felt like I got lost there for a second.
Because BioShock 2 had a multiplayer mode. But it's like... I think the reason why is because it's like a lot of games feel like they're kind of... Like, especially shooters are sort of forced to have a multiplayer mode because of just how pervasive like the online community has become in gaming as of recent, like with Halo, with Gears of War.
Well, I always think it's kind of weird that like so many of these games like always have to have a multiplayer, because some games like this game should just focus on single player. That's what it fucking is.
Yeah.
And leave the multiplayer to Halo, Gears of War, and Call of Duty, in a sense, you know.
I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying it's one of those games that it definitely is a first-person shooter, so I'm just surprised you think it'd be kind of an easy thing to throw in there. Plus, it'd be interesting doing since you could throw like superpowers at each other, lift each other off the ground, and shock them. That would have been an interesting thing to do.
Well, I think they should always just do. I always call it. Some people think it's half-assed, but just do like what they did like in the first Halo, where it's a second Master Chief running around. Does he have anything to do with the story? No, he's just it's just there. And to me, it's like I don't need you to put another character in. I don't need you to work the co-op around as being the story. I mean, that works great for Gears of War, and I think that's really cool. But, like, you just put that in there. How hard is that just to throw that little extra, like, co-op in there? It makes the game have, 100 more hours of gameplay.
Elizabeth has 2 daddies. Spoilers, it's her dad at the end. Booker DeWitt's her dad. But, yeah, anyway.
And Comstock is too, and everybody's her dad. She has all of the dads.
Can you actually explain this? I don't mean to, like...
There's
I don't mean
a
to
lighthouse.
crowbar this into... Because I'll make this quick, Spencer, because I know you didn't play the game. But at the end, you get the whole thing of kind of like...
Did you just spoil the game for him? What the hell, man?
I don't know. Are you planning to play it?
I don't know. Maybe.
All right, forget what I just said. I was going to ask...
Well, you're like, yeah, he's not going to fucking play it.
I didn't think you would. Maybe. I don't know. But have you ever played the first 2?
No. Well, I played the first one. I remember when it first came out, there was this one guy. He was like, oh, dude, come over and play this. And I play it, and he fell asleep, and about 10 minutes into it, it froze. I'm like, I'm going back. That's as far as I got. I was just like, oh, I guess that was it.
I'll ask you off the microphone just in case you do plan to play it. Forget everything I just said.
I mean, I don't really... it's kind of... Video games, like, people always think it's like, oh, you'll spoil it. Like, generally, it's like, oh, unless I see it's kind of hard to...
It's been out for like 6 or 8 months.
Okay, then if you
we live in this age, though, now where it's like, oh, you didn't play it, like, in the last 2 months? Well, I guess you'll never play it.
Yeah.
I remember, like, video games when I was a kid, though, like, it would last for years.
It would.
GoldenEye was from 1997. It was still played all the way up till, like, till 2003 or so. I mean, like,
games are a little
really
easier
popular
this day and age, it seems to me.
And then nowadays, it's sort of like, if you don't get in that fucking bandwagon the first couple months, it's also like, sort of like if you go to buy, like, I don't like buying, like, older game signs at GameStop, because sometimes you get kind of look like, oh, look at him, can't afford a new game, look at that fucker.
As they adjust their monocle.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, another thing, too, is it's like, since, like, with modern gaming, it's like, we always see, like, a lot of these, like, new shooters come out, like the Call of Duty series has essentially become like just a yearly installment of different patches with new maps and stuff.
It's like carbon copy, pretty much.
Yeah, it's become carbon copy, and people are getting a lot of people are becoming to get sick of that stuff, and people want to see new, interesting experiences coming out. Like, they want people to have like time and energy put into the game, not just like.
Well, a good game takes at least 2 years to like, if not 3. Like, something I always thought that shot themselves in the foot was Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. It's like, slow the fuck down, because you're not the only games we play.
Red Minus had a really funny cartoon about Call of Duty Ghost. It was called Call of Duty Ghosties.
Oh god, that's right.
What happens is it's like the main guy walking down the hallway, and he's taking cover. You hear some gunfire, you hear some screaming. Then all of a sudden, these Pac-Man looking ghosts, and like, woo! They have like little girl voices. They circle around them, and they have like these cute little girl voices, like, hey, mister, you shouldn't be here. The guy just standing there screaming, like, for dear life, and, like, super detailed. Just this screaming, terrified face. And, like, oh, look at his dog. He has a German Shepherd. That's cool. Then he just cuts to, like, Red Minus, because he has his own little, like, avatar for his shorts. He's playing a video game, like, you know what? This isn't what I expected. I really assumed it was going to be another like circle jerk of a bunch of just like same old first-person shooter, just with a different map. But no, it's actually something way different. I give the guys credit for just doing something different. It's like, yeah, it's kind of heavy on the QuickTime events. They just like pushing A, like keep pushing A to freak the fuck out, and the guy's screaming. So.
I like how QuickTime events have become kind of like this thing that people really don't like anymore. Really, I feel like QuickTime came from like Shenmue. Probably came from something before that, but that's where I remember this being really big at first.
I think God of War and stuff like that.
Well, God of War's way after Shenmue.
Yeah,
though.
true.
I think the thing that made it popular, maybe it's not the originator, but the thing that made it popular, I think, was probably Resident Evil 4. I remember a lot after Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 probably was, because Shenmue in, I guess, 2000 when that came out, or 99, no, 2000. That was the first one, because that focused really heavily on those like QuickTime events.
Okay, I just want to get this before, because you're smarter than me, so I want to know if you can explain this to me.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Ryan.
Are we going back to the Bioshock thing?
The Bioshock thing, yeah. All right, so maybe it's just too much for my tiny little brain. I don't know. Or maybe there's a big, massive plot hole that I'm missing. The whole thing...
If they put Batman in there, it all makes sense.
Yeah. Batman, I don't question it. No, he just fucking got into that city, no problem. He doesn't fucking need money. He's Batman. Anyway,
Yeah.
so...
It's probably just in the same timeline when he was like hip hop, like when he was like after like Final Crisis, when he was like hip hopping from different times, when he was like a fucking living bomb in time. I don't know, some shit like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that shit?
It was Grant Morrison. So, but Grant Morrison, you got to give it a second read a lot of the time to catch it all. But no. Anyway, there's the whole thing at the end where we find out. Okay, there's parallel worlds, and at one point in time, there's a one world where Booker became Comstock. Now Comstock through the whole like used Lutessas to open a gate to Booker's world, stole his daughter because he wasn't fertile. He raised Elizabeth as his own, training her to try and become this ultimate weapon or whatever. So if they kill that Comstock, why does it matter if they kill Booker at the end? Because that's not
because
him.
the thing is that what they're talking about is that, like. The thing about the story is that it's really open to interpretation, and if you play the Barrel at Sea, you pretty much feel like
Barrel at Sea adds that.
Yeah, it adds to the whole thing because it's like
that.
Here's the thing: it's like.
Don't you hate that though? Like, guess what? There's this thing you're gonna pay $10 for. It really adds to the story.
Well, Barrel at Sea does a good job as a DLC because it's like it's a different perspective.
Well, I heard it got like the #1 download of like the year.
Well, it's really well done, and it's really interesting to see Rapture in a more like. Not fucked up terms in a lot of ways. It's still fucked up, but like less fucked up in them. But here's the thing: it's like overall in the story, it's like yes, Booker and Comstock are the same person. They're from different dimensions. Same with the Lutessas; like they are the same person from a different dimension, but they're like really similar in that sense. The thing is that Comstock did steal Elizabeth. Didn't really steal him. He kind of coerced Booker into selling
I got
Elizabeth.
that part. I understand of how Elizabeth got there and all that.
Yeah. The thing is that what they're trying to say is like what Elizabeth and Booker plan on doing is that they believe that if Booker DeWitt, it's like in DC Comics there's like the thing of like the hyper time where it's like there is multiple like at any moment in time like there could be a different decision that could spawn an entire alternate universe.
Yeah, Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, Infinite Crisis. And the thing is that, imagine like, it's like let me put this in like terms that you could like that's easy to understand. For you.
Put this in terms you can understand.
Sorry, that's a really asshole
color. If you can use bright colors to catch my attention,
I will
that'd be
use
awesome.
DC
Lots of letters
I'll
on
use DC Comics. So remember in Flashpoint when Flash goes back in time and he causes like this ripple effect, like instead of Bruce Wayne's parents dying. It was Bruce who died, and it created this whole thing. It's sort of like, what if all three died at that one moment? There would be no Batman. There would be no like what would happen? The ripple effects from there. It's like it's like in that sense where it's like you end the Infinite story by killing Booker and by killing Comstock at the same point in time. Like if Booker and Comstock die in the part where they're supposed to break, then like does it change everything? Does it like reset itself? Does the universe continue on with its multiverse theory? And then with in Bioshock's Burial at Sea, it's heavily implying that it didn't all the way work because it heavily implies that the Elizabeth that you meet in Rapture is the same Elizabeth from the BioShock Infinite universe, who's been who's been like hopping from multiverse to multiverse, trying to figure out if she can bring it back into like one specific timeline, in a sense, where it's like with the question, there is always a lighthouse, is sort of like one of those like ultimate it's like one of those ultimatums that are like, is that really true? Is there always going to be multiple lighthouses? Is there always going to be one lighthouse? Like, how far do we have to go to bring it back to square one? Kind of like in that sense where it's like, can we change? It's like it's a combination of certain things, not only with like parallel dimensions, but also stuff like time travel and the butterfly effect and all these other things.
I get that. I guess the thing that confused me is because, well, that's a different Booker. That's a different. They're both different Bookers. So why is killing
they're
this
not different
one?
Bookers. They're the same Booker. It's just it's a Booker who had different choices in the end. It's sort of like, imagine if playing,
but you walk past like 3 other Bookers as you realize it's multiverse, because there's a part where you're walking past the one lighthouse and you see another Booker walking and another Elizabeth, and there you see like a bunch of them like walking around. Yeah. So I was just thinking that like what happens in one world, because one world he was like a hero to like Daisy and all them. So I was just wondering. Sorry, Spencer.
See, that's why I like Resident Evil. It's simpler.
This is what I'm longer than.
There's no fucking multiverse.
So it's one of those things that it's not like there's these multiverse. She created this verse, so she tracks back down to the original.
She didn't create it. It's like Booker created it when after the battle that he was a part of, and after his fallout with the Pinkertons, he had this really big moment of isolation and feeling like he was not really worth anything, and like he had this choice where he could be baptized, and when he chooses like, I'm not going to be baptized, he chooses to run away from his problems and becomes the Booker DeWitt that you play. But in that certain time when you could have made that choice, that one, like the same Comstock, the same Booker made the one choice of being baptized and decided, I'm going to become like a born again.
So it's more like it is an immediate split right there.
Think of it like a tree. Like you have a root, but then you have all these branches that you can.
I get that. Yeah, I thought it was more of something like around the fact of like, well, why would it affect if it's that universe? Why would it affect this one? But I see what you're saying now, and I know that Spencer hasn't played the game, so
yeah. To me, it's like, boy, if you want to turn me off from this game, I think we're getting there. Maybe I won't ever play this game now. This is like Ryan was right.
I do suggest you do play the game. It is actually really excellent and has like this really amazing world, and it's fun and.
I bet it's a pretty good game. It's just that the thing nowadays is games, I guess since, it's not like the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo days back when we were, youngins, we could handle things. You could play every game for Super Nintendo and every game for Sega Genesis. There was enough time for that.
Now video games make us want to, like, think and shit.
That make me question why that.
Well, they always made you want to think. It's just more that there's too many games that are too long, I guess.
To quote Ben Yahtzee Croshaw from his review of Spec Ops Line, he's like, remember when games were just about killing? Like, remember, like, Doom when we would just kill demons? I guess this is sort of a thing.
It was just to get back out of hell.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of a thing with like games growing up. Like eventually we have to even our like most precious childhood play toys have to turn to things that we have to teach us about just the horrors of life and stuff like that.
Makes sense right there.
Yeah,
good point.
Well, there is always some of those games out there that just have that kind of. Okay, we don't need this much story. We know what we're all here for, right?
Do you like Shovel Knight? Go play Shovel Knight.
That's Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight is okay. You'll like this. So, do you guys like Super Nintendo and NES games?
Yeah.
Did you guys like the original DuckTales game or like Castlevania and like Metroid and stuff?
That's his jam.
Castlevania is my favorite game.
Yeah, that's his jam.
So,
and Metroid. It's like my other favorite game.
Shovel Knight is one of those games which is like a is meant to be like a classic Nintendo game, and it was kickstarted and it got this huge following and stuff. And it's like the gameplay is like really solid, and it based itself around like very similar mechanics from like precision platforming from the DuckTales game, like the difficulty that you would see in like Castlevania, and the enemy placement you would see in Castlevania.
Yeah, like the difficulty of like how you have to like angle yourself for a lot
of
things.
Like angling yourself for like finding the right ways so that you can like take out enemies. Like more of the time you have like different power-ups you can have. Like you'd have like, remember in Castlevania you'd have the cross, which would do this weird arcing thing. Like in Shovel Knight you'd have like a boat anchor you could use.
You mean the axe had the...
Yeah, the axe just went. Sorry about that.
The cross was
fucking
like boomerang.
The cross was awesome. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
and what can you get that for?
You can get it on, it should be releasing I think around March, but like you can get it on like you're gonna be able to get it like on Steam, on a bunch of other platforms, like even on like Wii U and stuff like that.
Will you be able to get on 3DS?
I believe they do, or might be getting a 3DS version.
Seems like it could be a 3DS game.
Yeah, as I say, it sounds like it could fit on there. I don't know what it looks like exactly, but it sounds like it.
It's indie game, but like I'm sure you could probably download it off like the Nintendo eShop or something like that.
Yeah, really, they'll probably get at least some point.
Yeah.
Well, I got a little something right here that might steer us away. Are we good on time right now?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. I got a little something right here, steer us away from video games for a second. Have you guys heard about Quentin Tarantino in the last couple days?
No.
I don't know. I know he made Django Unchained, which was really good.
I love that flick.
The last couple days.
Anyway, here's something that happened like last couple days. Quentin Tarantino has no desire to make The Hateful Eight after script leaks. This is by Rachel Marcella at New York Daily News. He pretty much. I'm going to read parts of this. Let's see here. Where do I start? I don't have a computer. I literally had to like pull this thing off and print it out and paste it in.
You should have highlighted. At least you're not reading off a phone.
Yeah. Here we go. The filmmaker revealed to Deadline.com in an interview that the film, which he was planning to direct next, has come to a halt after one of the 6 people he gave the script to leaked.
That person is now dead.
He sent like John Travolta. He would send John Travolta and Samuel Jackson to him.
That's what was in the case. It was the script to this movie. We found it out.
Finally, it wasn't their soul or some deep shit like that. It was the fucking case.
It was actually diamonds, but whatever.
Tarantino identified the small group to be on the website as actors Bruce Dern, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, and their agents. I am very, very depressed, Tarantino said. I finished the script, a draft, and I didn't mean to shoot it until next winter, a year from now. I gave it to 6 people, and apparently it's gone out today. The only one I know that didn't do it is Tim Roth, he continued.
Because he was in my house for the last 48 hours.
And I took a crowbar to him and some electrical wires, and no, he didn't take it, apparently. I have to go to his lawyer next. One of the others let their agent read it and take it as passed it on to Hollywood. I don't know if these fucking agents work, but I'm not making this next. I'm gonna publish it, and that's it for now. I've actually read another. They changed the quotes. I read a different.
Well, that just seems like those ones like
he's gonna publish it as a book, pretty much. I read a different article, and
I'm still making fucking money off of it. Not getting...
Well, he's using it for something.
Yeah.
I gave it to 6 people, and if I can't trust them to disagree, then I have no desire to make it. Tarantino did say that he could totally change his mind about proceeding with production, but right now, he's not doing it next.
Well, see, to me, that seems kind of ones like, here's the thing. 90% of people aren't going to go out and fucking read it. More than that, I'd probably say 95% of people aren't going to go out and read that or have any knowledge of it.
I don't know how...
You know what I mean? Because Tarantino's got such a big audience, and most of those people probably don't even know this even happened. We didn't fucking know it happened.
He has more quotes right here. Like, I am not talking to both sides of my mouth because I do not like the fact that anyone eventually posts it. It gets in reviews and net, and he explained, frankly, I wouldn't want any other way. I like the fact that people like my shit and that they go out of their way to find and read it, but it gave me 6 motherfucking people. I gave it to 6 motherfucking people. Starting this week, I'll be setting meetings with publishers. So he's going to publish this thing as a book rather than a movie, he's thinking. And there's more there, but I read an article where the quotes were a little different, so I don't know about that one. But pretty much this was going to be another Western, and Michael Madsen, Tim Roth, and the other guy's name I already forgot.
Was it going to be like a different telling of like the Magnificent Seven or something like that?
That's what he said it was inspired by in another article I read. This was the shortest one, so I just
because it's like I probably now knowing that it's leaked will probably find it somewhere and read it, and like part of me says just like my gut instinct probably will say it's like Hateful Eight. Like part of me wants to think like it's a response to the Magnificent Seven, such as like imagine if the Magnificent Seven happened, but they didn't kill all of the bad guys, and the bad guys like we need to get our own team in, our own group.
I can see
8 of them. Hateful 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could even see it being. I could see that, but I could also see it being something around the lines of it being like a. Just maybe they're trying to pull off like rob a bank, and they just get these 8 guys together trying to pull it off, and like a 1800s heist film. I can see that. Who knows what it's going to be, though, or what it would have been. Before, knowing it was leaked, I wouldn't have read it, but now that I know that it's leaked and he's not going to make it, I'm like, oh, well, I might just read it now, because...
I just say, to me, it seems kind of like childish, like, like, they found it and I'm not doing it anymore, I'm going to go back in the corner. It's just like, no.
Well, I mean, it's like, I can understand the reason.
I mean, I can understand being kind of pissed, but it's just kind of like this day and age, it seems hard to keep things under wraps.
He said Quentin Tarantino just kind of shoots his mouth off, and I can see him kind of coming back to that later, though. And
yeah.
Like, I think when people
comes back, well, I don't really have any other ideas, guys. Kicks a can.
There's one article saying that he might do a prison movie.
Huh. But it's just I do think that just seems like one that's just like, really? Once again, here's the thing. 95% of the people out there aren't going to go out and fucking read it. People hate reading, most out there. Like,
I like reading.
I love reading too, but think about most people.
Good point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. There's not that many people that are going to go read this,
I'm surprised he picked Michael Madsen, because 2 or 3 years back, Michael Madsen apparently stole some money from him and skipped town. Maybe they patched that up, or maybe that was just a rumor.
It was probably Michael Madsen then.
Well, that sounds like a movie right there. Quentin Tarantino should just do that. Just, like Michael Madsen as Michael Madsen. Quentin Tarantino as Quentin Tarantino.
Which, I don't know.
Film's title, assholes. Big old assholes.
I could actually, the thing with that is, I don't know if it is Michael Madsen, maybe it was one of their lawyers or agents or whatever it was, but I don't really know Michael Madsen, but it's one of those things, if it was him, I wouldn't really take it. Quentin Tarantino is the one that kind of gave him a career, then after that, he just kind of did a bunch of shitty, kind of like straight-to-video movies, and he did a couple big things here and there, but generally he's in a lot of small stuff, so if Quentin Tarantino comes back to you like, I know you stole some money from me, and we kind of patched that up, how would you like to be in one of my movies again?
You fucking take it.
Thank
you, sir. May I have another?
So I don't think right there that he would do it. I don't know if he's that stupid. So,
all right, now, like, to put in like my 2 cents about the whole thing is like, I can understand Tarantino's reaction to this, because it's like when you leak something, especially from like a director who's known to like keep things like fairly secretive. Like, I'd say like him and like Robert Rodriguez are like this like kind of like are like a part of like this group of directors who like only really talk about the movies when they're like legitimately done, and then like putting out instead of like, keeping things in, like, I know with like the stuff I'm doing, I'm trying to keep a lot of stuff under wraps until I actually have stuff out. And like, if I had any of like the big reveals like spoiled and stuff like that, or like storylines spoiled, I would feel fucking devastated. I wouldn't want to do it anymore. Even if it was like a small leak, people would find it and stuff like that, and it would grow like wildfire. And it's like, it's like, well, I put all this effort. It'd be like, imagine if J.K. Rowling was putting out like the scripts for the
Harry Potter spinoff.
For Harry Potter, okay. And it's like it was the one with like where Snape kills Dumbledore. By the way, if you don't know about the twist, welcome to like. I'm glad you've joined us like 4 years later.
Cisco gets pissed off at me if I mention like Harry Potter 7. Like, don't tell me! It's like, the book has been out for 8 years, the movie's been out for 4 years, fucking watch it already.
Yeah, but no, it's like,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It'd be like, imagine if somebody like said like Snape killed Dumbledore and stuff like that, and like they leaked that, and people are like, what the fuck? And then you're like, God damn it! Like, this,
well, I feel it
ruins it.
It's kind of like the thing. It's like, well, by having the script leak, you didn't see the fucking movie though. There's, what I mean? It's like if you read the book, the movie's gonna still be different.
He said it was a first draft.
Yeah, so
he said he wasn't planning to shoot till next winter, so that gives an entire year to rewrite it.
It's kind of like what I always feel. It's like people that like they could like say like, okay, this is the ending of something or another, but if you don't see it, it's like it doesn't it doesn't make a difference if you're spoiled or not.
Like some years back, right before Hostel 2 came out, Hostel 2 got leaked out like online, like the Wolverine movie did, and people like, oh, this movie's so shitty and this and that, and Eli Roth is like, hey, you guys took an unfinished version of the movie. That's an earlier cut. There's scenes still missing. So at least wait till the fucking movie comes out. And I never saw it, so I can't say. But it's like, come on, just give something a fucking chance before you just go off the script. And we just live in an age where, I don't know, it seems like people like cynicism more than actual creativity.
I still feel, though, it's like there's still that ginormous margin of people, though, that won't go out and like look that stuff up. I mean... I mean, obviously, like, most of the money Quentin Tarantino is going to make from this movie is going to be from people that aren't going out there looking this stuff up, So I just feel like, well, how about, your other 90% of the fans? Just because there's 10% of people out there reading it and posting it.
Well, I think it depends, because it's like, when we look at Quentin Tarantino's, like, fan base, or just, like, in the general public in a sense, where it's like, when they hear, like, a big thing has or launched, like, even if they're not, like, actively looking for it, they will hear about it, and they'll hear about it fairly quickly, either through like sources like Reddit or like other sources or news media will pick it up and like really blow it up, and like people will begin looking into it like really quickly. I think that's the thing is like I think the thing like why Quentin like blew up about it is because of like a couple of reasons. Like one is because like the reason I said before where it's like that really sucks. Like it's shitty that I just lost like my big reveal and stuff like that, and I like being like a really like closeted sort of director in a sense. Like a closet in a sense of like with my material and like my work and like I don't like really like showing like the stuff I feel confident about. And I think like it could be a confidence thing too. Especially since like
first draft.
Well, especially it's the first draft, and not only that, but it's like it's fucking Quentin Tarantino. Like he has a fucking long ass legacy that he has to live up, which he's been doing really well and stuff like that. I mean, like it's really hard to like kind of like make so many good films like Quentin has. Like it's hard for any fucking filmmaker to do something, even make one amazing film, but not only to make like 4 or 5 amazing films and stuff like that. Like I can name off like Inglourious Bastards, like Kill Bill, like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, like Django Unchained, like all these fucking
True Romance,
From
or
Dusk
like
Till Jackie
Dawn.
Brown, like
From
Dusk Till Dawn, like all like we just named off 8 amazing films that are like enjoyable to
Kill
watch.
Bill.
I already say Kill Bill.
Oh, you did say
Yeah,
sorry
I
if I missed that one. I was like, did we really miss that one?
Yeah, how could we miss Kill Bill? But it's like all these like fantastic films, and it's like. I think the thing, like, another thing we also have to keep in mind, too, is, like, we were in an age where it's, like, we can consume media at, like, not only, like, in vast quantities, but also with, like, so, like, speed. It's sort of like, nowadays, we consume media like an obese woman on, like, a fucking motorcycle going, like, 60 miles an hour, going down the buffet line, just shoving everything in her mouth. Like, so many goddamn chicken wings are down her throat right now.
I think I saw that one on Oh Yeah Cartoons.
Well, see, I remember being a kid there, and you just think about watching movies in the theaters, and you'd only have, 2 to 5 cinemas, and those movies would stay there for a long time, where now,
they switch them out
a big movie could be gone in 2 weeks,
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, I think you came back in some theaters, but it was gone really fast.
Yeah. We still do have film. I know I work at the movie theater, like our local theater, and we have Frozen still from like Thanksgiving because it's been doing so consistently well.
So weird.
It is weird, but it's been making like a ton of money.
Well, yeah, I know why it's there, but it just seems like.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, like it's.
Then again, though, here's the thing, though. What other family movies are there, really?
There's The Nut Job if you hate yourself and hate your children.
Oh, well, funny thing about that.
Do you want to watch the film that's called Will Arnett's Gotta Eat?
I took my nephew to that.
You explained this in the last podcast.
I was telling him, though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what happened? I want to know this story. This sounds fun.
You worked there,
I did work there. I do work there, and I avoid that thing with the plague. Like, I avoided doing theater checks on the Smurfs 2. By the way, doing theater checks on the Smurfs 2 is one of the most soul-crushing experiences ever.
That's what this was. It wasn't really that good of a movie.
It was
I like
soul-crushing?
heist movies, but this was a very, like... I mean, I wasn't going there, look, Eric, it's a heist movie. But it was one of those things like, okay, well, maybe... Who knows?
Did you watch Ocean's 11? Here's Ocean 11's with Will Arnett and squirrels.
I like Will Arnett, but this movie, though, was one of those things I was just like...
At least he's in the Lego movie, so...
Yeah, so he's
Batman.
He's Batman in the Lego movie.
I'm sorry, every time I see previews for the Lego movie, I get so excited because it's like, I love the humor that they have in there. Like, where, like, one of the previews where it's like, it's a double-decker bed so you can all hang out with your buddies while you're watching things. And then Batman's just like, you are so disappointing. Just like, I would imagine if I was Batman, I would be that Batman. Like, you are so disappointing right now.
And plus, there's even the small little...
Just go to Jason Todd, like, you are fucking disappointing.
little Lego Joker
Dye that
beating.
fucking hair.
It's even the things they actually made his hair black again in the New 52. It's like, that's one thing we're gonna fix, the red hair.
Yeah, get rid of that fucking red hair.
No, but he does look weird with red hair. But no, the whole
You fucking Irish fuck.
Batman hates Irish people.
Batman also hates rock and roll. If you've ever read Batman Good Son, like Fortunate Son.
I could see him he seems like the kind of guy just listening to classical music at most.
He might not even listen to music.
I think I could see him putting on some Beethoven while looking over some schematics or something.
I don't think so. I feel like that'd be Alfred, and Batman would look around, turn that shit off.
I want to think.
And he'd go over and smash Alfred's records and go, you don't bring this in this house.
I want to think that Batman sometimes just like goes into the Batmobile and like he's just like sitting there like waiting and just like pops in Wu-Tang Clan and he's like, or just like
that would ruin it for me.
or just like DMX like
Where the hood at?
That's what Jason. That's what Jason Todd would be listening to.
Yeah, see, I can picture a Robin.
Dude,
listening to that,
Jason Todd listens to like Fall Out Boy and like Panic at the Disco and like all those bands that really want to be edgy but they're not edgy.
Are you just joking around, or is that one of the more recent comics?
I'm making a joke.
Okay, I was. Well, you never know, because sometimes I read a
DC doesn't do that too often, but
they don't do it. Marvel.
They would make it.
Jeff Loeb like made a reference in like Ultimatum, which was kind of like, I got like, I think Kong or whatever. It's like, I got an idea. It's like, please don't say go see The Dark Knight again. It's just like, this really slaps the fucking date on it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's just one line. But Ultimatum I didn't like that much anyway. But off the point. I was gonna say regarding Batman, I could kind of see. I mean, I could see Batman listening to classical music, or like you said, breaking it, like making like treating Alfred like Woodhouse from Archer, something like that. But who knows? But yeah, I unfortunately took my nephew to see the Nut Job, and I did kind of regret it. And I couldn't.
So you should have saw Hercules. It probably wouldn't be that much better, but probably still better.
I don't know.
Do you want to watch a movie that desperately tries to be 300 but doesn't have the budget of 300 but really wants you to forget 300 and think it's being original? Like, there is slow-mo.
Still sounds better than that, yeah.
Like, every time I've done theater checks in that movie, it is literally like slow-mo shot. Like, every like 20 seconds.
Remember the good days when there wasn't theater checks?
I remember like... I remember when I first went, the first time, was before they did theater checks, because somebody walked in with a little red glow stick looking at the checkboard, like... Something happened. Someone bring up. They're about to search everybody. What happened?
Yeah.
I snuck into an R-rated movie, so I was like, I think like, all right. There's more.
You're about to like jump up like hide the drugs, and you're like, I don't even have any drugs. Why am I saying this? Hide the drugs.
Sorry, I saw someone with authority, so that happens when I. But I got a question for you, and I feel more bad.
I have an answer for you.
I feel more bad for people that had to work the movie theater, because when we went to go see good movie by the way, but Lone Survivor. When we got up, there's just all these people, just all these old fuckers, just standing up.
Like, that's an American up there.
Patriotic as fuck. Okay, whatever. I have no problem with patriotism. But it's that whole thing, like, it's sad the most patriotic people in town are the people who can't pick up their shit on their way out of the fucking door. Does that happen with every viewing?
Is that like every Lone Survivor?
Is that every viewing?
You have no fucking idea how bad it gets.
And then they just give you shit on the way out.
Kid movies, I get, but that movie right there.
I mean, these people are all well adjusted, I'd like to assume.
Like, no, it's okay. Like, here's the thing. Like, when you go to the movie theater, when you work in any service industry, especially in the movie theaters, I'm gonna not name the movie theater I work at because of just I want to keep my job there because it's nice.
We all know it is. There's only one fucking theater.
We won't say it though. I don't believe we've ever said it.
We've said it on every podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
we had a podcast titled Mr. Regal.
That's the other. Well, Jeremy. Well, actually, every once in a while, we happen to drive down to Jamestown to go see a movie. Wink, wink, wink. And that's
Angels Camp.
Angels. Did I say Angels Camp?
No, you said Jamestown.
I meant Angels Camp. I don't know why I mix those names up every once in a while. But anyway, go over to Angels Camp where the theater's nice, and that's where Jeremy works. But every once in a while, you get the assholes in the theater. So what's it like at the Angels Camp theater?
Okay, so here's what it's like. So
life is great there. Let me tell you about my theater, though.
The Angels Camp theater.
All right, let's talk about working at a movie theater here. This is going to be fun here. So, when you work at a movie theater, it's like every other service industry job. However,
except there's movies involved.
There's movies involved. One, you still get paid minimum wage. Two, you do get like basic benefits like health, and like if you work.
Okay, we don't get that in other service industries mostly.
Yeah. But like one nice thing that we get is that if you work in the movie theater, you get 3 free passes for movies every day. And if you have family, they can come in and use 2 of your free passes to go see a movie if you're working. But like the way the free passes work, like you can go with yourself and bring 2 people with you. So you can do that every day, no matter what you like. You can do that every day if you want it.
But I feel like they get you because you're already working there. What's the last thing you want to do? Is fucking stay there longer.
I have one time like worked one day, and then like I stayed for 3 at movies because I just fucking felt like it. And it's actually pretty nice because you can just sit there and just like the people that you worked with, you can just like when they do theater checks, you can be like. It's like party with them. We're like,
well, I guess you guys during a midnight release, it probably wouldn't be so bad. Because
it depends on the movie. Like, here's the thing, where it's like, if it's a midnight release for any other film that's not like super, super, super huge, like Twilight or Magic Mike, you will not find that big of a midnight release if it is like
midnight premiere for Magic Mike. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay. That's the thing. Like I didn't work there during like the Twilight and Magic Mike phase. Like I was about to be hired after those movies got out, but
theaters must have been really moist.
They were the moistest fucking theaters in existence. Like everybody said that like you would have lines that literally wrapped around the buildings for those fucking movies, and it was stupid. Like every aging mother in existence went to go see Magic Mike and went out really disappointed that they saw this like really nice film that wasn't just about like Channing Tatum taking off his pants, but it was also about like, you know, economic disparity and shit like that. They're like, God damn it, I just want to see some dick in my face.
That's the 3D version. That was the sequel. Have like the 3D glasses.
And then like you go watch Twilight and they're like, God damn it, I just want to see some dick in my face. And like the basic thing is like when you work in a movie theater, you will learn to hate everybody specifically. Like one, you will begin to hate, like the first people you will begin to hate is children, because children are loud, obnoxious, and they are the worst fucking individuals in the, like one of the worst fucking groups of people in the universe. Just in the multiverse.
Yeah, that's like anywhere.
Yeah, and it's like, it's especially bad in like kids theaters, because here's the thing. Kids like to think that popcorn is not something that goes into your mouth to eat. They like to think of it as fucking confetti. And you will see popcorn literally everywhere, even in places where you wouldn't expect it. Like, how the fuck did you get popcorn to stand perfectly still on the fucking ceiling? That's
effort, asshole! Clean that shit up! Mom, another slushie!
Yeah, or it's like, in a lot of ways, kids like to bring in like their own candies, and the worst candy to clean up is fucking Nerds, because it gets everywhere. And
it's tiny.
It's tiny. You won't see it, but you'll only like hear like oh god, stepped on it again.
Fucking Nerds!
Nerd! I feel like just like
there's just some like nerdy kids back like, well, sorry, we didn't mean to.
We're just trying to play our magic over here. Don't be mad at us.
We paid our $10 to get in here.
It's $11.
Fuck you, man. If you're going at nighttime.
Okay, you will also begin to hate teenagers, because teenagers are the most obnoxious motherfuckers in existence. Like, here's one good story I have. When we're cleaning movie theaters, we have this policy where we work, where it's like, we say, if we are cleaning theaters and people come in, we're like, hey, could you wait outside while we clean the theater so it's all nice and presentable? You know, kind of like when you bring a girl over, it's like, hey, can you not go into my room? Because, you know, I want this shit to look nice before we do anything in here. You know, because I don't want you to be like, look at all the used condoms everywhere. It's kind of like that. Speaking of used condoms, you will be surprised about how many times I have found used condoms on like the upper rows in theaters. You will be surprised.
Oh, that's Smurfs 2.
Yeah, Smurfs. No. Actually, there was one like Smurfs 2 showing. It was like a late night showing that I had to clean up, and I was like, why in existence? But no, the other story. But like teenagers, like one time like these group of teenagers come in, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, but like we're still cleaning and stuff, and they're like, what, like this, like there were these like two most like hick guys and their hick girlfriends, and like they have like the biggest fucking dips in their mouths, and they're like, what the fuck? And like they leave, and they like, I can hear them like talking to themselves, and they go to my manager and they're like, he told us get the fuck out of the theater, like getting so fucking angry, and like obviously, like, you know, like angry, but also like joking around in a sense where it's like you're not, like, you're pretty sure that they are legitimately angry, but they're also trying to come off as joking and stuff. That fucking weird sort of emotion. And like my manager's like, yeah, right, and stuff like that, because he's dealt with these fuckers before. They're fucking assholes.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm almost imagining like unibrow Neanderthals kind of hunched over, walking on their mitts.
That's how I think of everybody who comes.
You know,
that's how this
yeah.
is how I see every, like, when you work in a movie theater, like, people become a blur, but like what I see the most is like, if you ask me to describe the most common people you will see, I will say like short, blue-haired, overweight old ladies who really like their Jane Austen way too much. Really, really old dudes with like usually like a Vietnam hat on them.
Oh, I see those.
Fucking 12-year-olds. kids who wear YOLO t-shirts with SpongeBob SquarePants on them, and I'm like, why the fuck do you, your parents obviously hate you. They want people to look at you and say, that kid's gonna be an asshole, and he is an asshole. He'll always be an asshole.
We're gonna give Billy an iPhone for his birthday so he can like tweet while he rides a scooter.
Yeah.
Give him practice before he gets a driver's license.
Yeah, and it's like, they're also giving him, like, Kanye West, like, white t-shirt that costs, like, $79 and stuff like that. That happened. You didn't hear about that? Like, one time Kanye West sold a t-shirt that was a plain fucking white t-shirt for $79. And people are like... My favorite comment from that was... This is a little tangent. But my favorite comment from that was like, yo, Kanye, I respect what y'all doing. But a white t-shirt... Homie, unless this thing gets bad bitches around my dick like a magnet, I'm buying this shit. That was my favorite
very
quote.
sultry voice.
Very sultry.
I want you to read romance novels in that voice.
Do you have a romance novel? Here, I'll read the back of some random thing here.
Lady Killers by the Coen brothers.
Lady Killers by the Coen brothers. Academy Award-winning Tom Hanks turns in hilariously original performance in The Lady Killers, the laugh-out-loud comedy that explodes with outrageous wit and slapstick humor from the Coen brothers. Oh, brother, where art thou? In Fargo, motherfucker. Underneath Professor G.D. Gore's Hanks' silver-tongued Southern gentleman persona is a devious criminal who's assembled a motley gang of thieves to commit the heist of the century by tunneling through his church-going landlady root cellar into his casino's vault of riches. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop
good.
right
It's
there.
fine. It's all good.
See, I always thought that working in a movie theater, though, it would ruin it for me, because I always say, like, never work anywhere that you like too much. Or else...
Well, it's like, the thing about the nice thing...
Because I like going to movie theaters. I feel if I worked at
here's
one...
the thing. The people you have to deal with at a movie theater are either, like, the sweetest, most amazing people in existence. Like, they're, like, legitimately, like, pleasant to work with. Like, legitimately pleasant to, like, deal with and, like, help them out through things. Or they're the biggest douchebags. But, like, usually when you work at the movie theater, like, especially up here, the people you work... Like, your coworkers are the coolest motherfuckers in existence. Like, I've had amazing conversations with these people. Like, at one time... After a shift that ended at midnight, I stayed an extra 2 hours to 2 o'clock just talking with my manager about, like, movies and, like, comics and stuff like that. Like, we are that. Like,
Well, at least you get
fun.
that kind of audience with, like, the people that work there. You get people that generally like movies, you know? Even though I do...
There was one time...
I would say that I do imagine that they probably do hire people that... A lot of times I always learn in life, you know... They'll always hire people like, why the fuck did you hire that person? You know what I mean?
No, it's like, usually the people who don't like movies, we usually, like, make sure that they get out in, like, a couple weeks because, like, they obviously are not really ready to work there because, like, everybody there are nerds.
Because I've applied a handful of times there back in the day. I don't think I will by this point, but... And it was just one of those ones, like, I never got. And then I just see signs like, that fucker got it in there? Like, what the fuck? I knows nothing. But I've learned that a lot of times in a lot of jobs in my life, is that they never hire the guy that knows the most.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do.
Well,
Not a lot of jobs.
Well,
you should see it at the gym sometimes. Like the people that get hired.
Jeremy knows his shit.
Well, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying some of the people that you'll see.
Oh, yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We've at the movie theater, we've become more of, like, we want to hire people who are, like, legitimately passionate about movies and, like, passionate about the job and stuff like that because they want people to do their homework. Like, the reason why we get the the passes that we get is mostly because it's sort of an incentive for us to go see movies and give our own opinions to the people who come to movies. Because I'll get constant times where it's like, hey, Jeremiah, or like, hey, squints their eyes looking at my name tag, Jeremiah
Johnson. Good man. You remind me of him.
I do like it when there's always that, like, one random preacher guy who looks at my thing and he's like, that's a good name. Solid name. An American name. I'm like, it's actually very Hebrew, but whatever.
I'll take it.
Thanks there, Jimbo. I don't know. Should I call you Jimbo? I don't know. But no.
Probably old George.
Yeah, George or Steve.
No, you wouldn't say it. He'd probably be like, just look at you.
And
And just keep walking.
Hand you a Bible. Hope you fucking die. Just keep on walking.
What the fuck?
An old guy we
But no.
sort of know. All right, yeah.
Anyways, getting back to the
I think he
people you
passed
will
away,
learn
because I haven't
today,
seen
like
him
you will
in
hate
years.
teenagers. Okay, getting back to my original story about these fucking asshole teenagers.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
These asshole teenagers, like, I clean the theater, and I go in to do theater checks for it, and they're, like, fucking, like, yelling at me at, like, hey, look at me, hey. And, like, there's like this other like poor little teenage couple, but it's like one like a really petite girl and like one really fucking skinny like emo kid, and they're not gonna stand up to the Hicks because these Hicks will fucking kick his ass probably because like one of them looks like he's like 7 foot tall, and I'm like, I'm really not gonna deal with this shit. I'm just gonna walk away and just not be a part of this shit. And then like I tell my manager, and my manager does like the next couple checks, and they're still huge assholes, and we eventually kick them out because we don't like dealing with fucking assholes.
Spencer and I were talking about you guys just need to start. You need to license you guys to have like tasers and just start like zapping fuckers if they get out of line. People will say about someone.
They need to put like somebody who sits in the theater the whole time and just watches it constantly.
And just like maybe like stands by the exit,
like a theater
marshal
or something like that.
In, you know,
because that's what's one's like. I feel like a lot of times like you guys come in and check. Sometimes people just be quiet then. The second you go back out, then they go back into their heathenness.
Yeah, they go on a riot stick and just go, you know.
Yeah, just like an undercover.
I will not lie.
Like
There's sometimes that I really wish I did have like a riot stick and I could just beat into a person. Like, welcome to welcome to the 99% thing, and I'm the cops here.
Well, I feel like since theaters aren't making enough money nowadays, they're kind of like, well, like, I mean, they did pay $22. I mean, we got to kind of let them come in, you know. It's not like there's a line outside the door for the movies you see here, you know.
Yeah, seriously.
Because I feel like if the movies are like totally crowded, you could just take out all like the heathens and just make it a.
Feels that way. You probably felt like you probably done that in the '90s, but now it almost there's so many like. Well, I think it's weird because we got so many movies coming out. And
so many.
I'll see them so quickly, but then there's also like you said, so many outlets. So you got like download at home. You got Redbox. You know,
Netflix,
and YouTube, yeah, whatever. So
I watch like movies on YouTube all the time, like especially MST3K, since they don't care. Mm-hmm. Since it's hard to get DVDs of like those episodes anyway, since it's like
that's what I would do. I'll download stuff off YouTube because it's like, oh, they don't release this on DVD yet.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. But no, it's like the other group of people you will learn to hate is also old people because
old people is like we've had many podcasts. It's the teenagers and the old people are the two worst like groups at like the theaters.
We don't see enough kids movies.
Yeah, the kids we don't see them as often.
Ironically, when we go see like a big PG-13 movie, like I think it was actually Hobbit. Bunch of kids sat right in front of us, like fuck. Here we go. All well behaved though, surprisingly. So you get the few freak ones you don't expect.
Well, it's because it's like when they're gonna go see Hobbit, obviously their parents are doing something right to let them watch the Hobbit, and they're not like, let's go watch Nut Job. Like every time I see a parent bring a kid into Nut Job, I die a little inside because we have Frozen, which it's been there since Thanksgiving, but it's fucking good. Go see Frozen. My God.
I'd say go see Frozen over Nut Job. I definitely say that. But did you see the credits where they have a fucking little CG Psy dancing to like Gangnam Style?
No,
there's not Frozen. That's what you're wondering.
I have not had. I have been graciously not had to deal with that.
I'm warning you in case you have to go in there. You have to see the characters doing the Gangnam Style dance during the credits. I'm giving you a warning.
Why are they doing Gangnam Style? Isn't it like set in the 1950s? Wouldn't it have been like more interesting if they like fucking danced like, I don't know, Frank Sinatra, like fly me to the moon?
Well, the movie's part like a South Korean production, and that's like their god over there right now.
That is true. It is their god. You will bow before your god known as Psy.
He's already kind of like, well, he's probably still popular there. But
he's always been really popular. He's been a musician for like about 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just because Gangnam Style is just a big hit, and it's just like, holy shit, the West really likes it, and everywhere else really likes it because I made a really good dance.
For some fucking reason.
I like this. I was gonna sit here and just mumble really softly and everything. Anyways, sorry about that.
So good.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say like the worst. I don't know. Like, I'd probably have to say like consistently the people I despise the most are I just don't understand old people in the sense where it's like they will leave their shit everywhere, and it's like I'll go into kids movies and like I'll understand kids because it's like they don't know better,
or they just had horrible parents or something.
Yeah, or it's like they're in a rush or something. Like maybe their mom has to go like blow a dude in the back for some reason.
Just so they pay for the movie tickets.
Yeah, because they had to pay for the movie tickets somehow. I don't know.
Mom doesn't have $40 for all you know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry if I interrupted you there, but like. It's infuriating because it's like that's like the way that we clean theaters is we go in, we deal with armrests and like big stuff, and by big stuff I mean like boxes and like tubs or like drinks that they leave there. It's always always the old people who like do it for the most part, or like teenagers. It's always those two groups that do it. Kids, not so much, because usually their parents do clean up after their shit because they won't stand to the kids. They're like, I'm so sorry, he just likes causing messes. I'll just clean this up here. Like, Joey, please don't go to the arcade. Joey, please don't. Joey, stop pistol whipping your sister. Please stop pistol whipping your sister. Joey, please. Joey, this is not what the therapist told us we should have done. Joey, please stop. You're making mommy cry. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
This is what it's like being a single mom.
Yeah. Welcome to single momdom. It sucks balls. Yeah, I don't understand what people think where it's like, I'm just going to leave my shit here. Because I don't know. It's like, because my thought of like when I go out into public, I try to be a decent human being, and I'm like, I'm gonna clean up after myself. Like, I don't go to like a coffee shop and just like
chuck my coffee cup out,
or like just leave like I like buy like, let's say I bought like 10 coffees because I just wanted to be like fucking wired, or like wanted to feel like I'm on cocaine once in my life without doing cocaine, and I just leave everything like on a table, like,
and then kick the table over.
Yeah, I kick the table over, then I shit all over it.
Some old person walks up to you like, man, I'm really enjoying my Social Security. Too bad you won't have it. Just chucks like a fucking like gallon thing of soda on the ground. Like, that's it right there. I can do that.
To be fair, the best and worst thing somebody's ever told me when I've worked at the movie theater when they got really mad was there was this one lady, and it was like when we were really busy and I was working at concessions. It's like the first week I was working at concessions, I was like hella fucking nervous, and we were like slammed, and I'm like, I have to like deal with all this, and our managers told us like, don't deal with anybody who comes to the side counters, because a lot of times there'll be a line and people come to the side counters, and those people come to the side counters, they fucking want to beat their shit.
Even though there's 2 other lines or something?
Yeah, there's like 2 big lines that you have to deal with, and it's like they're like, I want to get boxes, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a customer right now. Like, they're paying for things, because here's the thing, when somebody pays in any service industry, I'm sure you guys have dealt with this too.
Yeah.
When somebody immediately pays, they're the most entitled, like, prickish motherfuckers in existence, because then everything revolves around them because they paid for something. Like, God forbid you have to deal with somebody who hasn't paid for something yet, and it's like, you must let this swine before you. I have paid $20 on popcorn and drinks for my shithole kids. I demand to see my boxes being used. Kurt, no, do it, knave, do it. Like,
I think that guy was standing in front of me last time.
Yeah. And like, essentially, like, what happened was this like this middle-aged lady who's like, I'm assuming she was like in her 40s or something. She had like this like soccer mom look, and it's like, I was like dealing with this, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to finish this thing, and I'll just grab her boxes, and I just told her like, hey, we're really slammed right now, so it's like it's really hard to do side counter things. So it's like, I'm not telling you this now, but like in the future, could you like go to the line and stuff when we're done with this? And she looks at me with like just rage billowing in her eyes, and she's just like, what? You are rude, you worthless $8 an hour nobody. And I am like, holy shit. The fact that a person in my lifetime has called me an $8 an hour nobody in front of a ton of people.
I make $9 an hour. Thank you very much.
In front of everybody. Like, in a bunch of people in front of, like, my work, and, like, screaming at me, and then leaves off to go scream at my manager about this because apparently I, like, offended her clan or something like that. Like, I killed their, like, senpai or something like that.
I guarantee if she pulls out her iPhone and says, like, that's it, I'm gonna be calling upper management. Her iPhone case says, keep calm, call Jesus on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably some bullshit
but
like
it's
that.
like,
I feel as people do, it's
like,
like whenever they see like the people at the theater, I think they just think it was like such lesser people, just like, these are all the slaves that pick up after us, you know.
That's how it felt like in Lone Survivor.
You know, a couple hundred years ago, we didn't have to pay them. They would just go back there and run the wheel, and everything would play, and our movies would be fantastic.
We called them serfs, and they just lived on our land, but we didn't really have to do anything.
We literally would take them out and surf on them in the beach. You ever wonder where that name came from?
You guys do know where the term surf comes from.
do.
Okay, just making sure, guys. The history buff here is getting like, I'm kind of concerned here. Let me just get myself in here.
I think we're all history buffs here.
Yeah. But no, it's like, oh my god, like, and like that moment was just like a beautiful moment in my life. And just like a moment of where I was like, this is the single most beautiful and most terrible thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And it's like, well, one of the most beautiful and terrible things that have ever happened to me. In just like one moment, this one singular microcosm of just anger and rage and just like confusion. And like, I'm just sitting there just fucking befuddled. Like, I could not believe somebody would say that to somebody. Because it's like, since I've worked in service, I have been like, I don't, like, anytime I go anywhere, like, it may either be like McDonald's or like fucking anywhere that's service, where you have to deal with people, I'm always the nicest motherfucker in existence.
Because I know fucking crap they have to deal with day
I
to day.
get it. Like, if they're like, I'm so sorry this is taking so long, I'm like, it's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I got all the time in the world.
I got all the time in the world and stuff like that.
It's like, I hope this lady dies of AIDS.
Wow. I wanted that lady to die of AIDS on, like, super herpes just hits her and she's just like explodes.
Airborne super herpes.
Airborne super herpes.
She gets to die in front of you so you can watch it.
I'm just imagining some old guy just going like, his mouth, his lower jaw drops lower, like the moon, like, just like fucking locusts fly on him. It's like fucking super herpes.
Though it was really like interesting because like right after that customer dealt with this whole thing, like the next lady came up and she was like the sweetest person. She's like, and I was like, you have a good day. And she's like, you too. And hey, don't let anybody keep you down. And I'm like, you like blue-haired old lady are in like, I was so happy. I was like, yes, somebody like gets it. And
then she threw down a thing of popcorn and said, clean that shit up!
You ain't $1 an hour, prick! And she just like, grabs an icy from a kid and just pours on top of your head. Everybody point and laugh! Purple wearing motherfucker!
it's maroon, actually.
Don't correct me!
Well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up at.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be on. Hopefully I can be on more episodes and stuff. This was super fun.
I'd love to have you on, yeah.
Kind of like podcast. Well, make sure to check out oldmanorange.com. And until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Jeremiah the Elgort.
And we will see you some other time.